Altidore. Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the straight red card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Welcome back. That is Brett, the strap-on Corbett, and I am Derek, the sex doll Richie. All right, we are here for another.
I love the nicknames. That might have to be our. We might have to change our Xbox Live accounts to those.
We might have to do that. I just came up with that right before the show. I had not thought about that for a second, but I was thinking about the cartoon we did, where EB's like, "Yeah, get your shit in order and let's get home and make sure
grab one of them 10-inchers.
Bring the 10-incher." A turd in the background says, "Welcome back to the Straight Red Card. Who is the biggest flop since 2010? Is it Breck Shea? Is it Bobby Wood? No, I'm not going to be Bobby Wood. Is it Hayward Jablomi? Hey, he used to be in the phone book for years in Bloomington, Hayward Jablomi. And that's not a joke. And it was actually trying to think of the basketball player's brother who did it year after year after year and got him in there. After so find out in about an hour and a half after all the bull talk.
The turd knows us so well.
He does. Like and subscribe, you farking bitches. Thank you, Chris. We need to ram that home. And by the way, you don't have to slam the like button and subscribe button or whatever. You just need to lightly touch it with whatever. You can use your finger or whatever else is free on your body. Berlin Americana. Taylor says flop. And no one is mentioning the turd's permanent erectile dysfunction. Actually, that might get mentioned tonight. It might get mentioned. Not the turds, but erectile dysfunction. Certified Chad, what's up? LFG, straight red card.
Let's
fucking go. That's what that means. Okay, that's good to know. David D says Soto is near the top of the list. You know what? He's going to get there because he just got like 20 minutes or 15 minutes at Klagenfurt in Austria. So you never know. He might have a breakout season at Klagenfurt. If they don't get demoted, which they will. They'll get relegated. John Reck, waffles or pancakes? John, I'm still wondering what you're doing with all those eggs you asked me about. Like, do I like this egg or the hard-boiled egg or a soft-boiled egg? And I gave you the answers, and I thought they were the weirdest questions ever. And now you're offering me waffles or pancakes? What are you, a breakfast connoisseur?
Making you breakfast, Derek. I'm going to take you to in bed. It's going to be nice.
That's like that first date you go on, and the girl asks you, "Hey, what do you want for breakfast?" Before the night's over. You're like, "Oh, stay."
Keeper. Pancakes more often, but every now and then a nice big Belgian waffle is delicious.
I'm going to say, yeah, I agree with that. I do think pancakes, if made properly, are just really filling. That's the problem with, though. You can eat too many pancakes. Waffles have more air in them, less actual content. Adam Wiggins. Hey, it's Thursday. I think I finally have my days straight. How'd you get lost there on your days?
Adam sent me, tagged me yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, no live show tonight?" I go, "No, it's Wednesday. We do our shows on Thursday." He goes,
"It happens. It happens." The only reason, Adam, I know what day it is because, Monday is a show day. Thursday's a show day. In between that, Tuesday is game night with my kids. So, I look forward to my Wednesdays when I got nothing to do. So, and then I take a nice, long, warm bath. Oh, and then I go to bed. Don't do anything. I don't stress. Maybe watch a little soccer that I missed, some replays on the tube, and kick it back, baby. Have a few of these, and maybe some Jenny Cush will come over, and we're just kicking it back, man.
He likes to sit on one hand for about 5 minutes and then jerk it, so it seems like a stranger's doing
it. Right, I do that too. Skinamarink, Derek, and the Brett. Would you guys purchase tickets to watch U.S. men's national team games at the FIFA World Cup 2026? Yes, I would, and we plan to. We plan to figure out a game to go to.
I mean, it's hard not to come up with a reason to go to the game, and even if tickets are an absorbent amount of money, and sold out, we'll still probably go to the city.
Do we know what city they're going to play in? That's the problem. So I'm not flying anywhere. So it better be within. Fucked. It better be within driving distance. St. Louis.
Just take some Ginny Kush and then jump on the plane.
Nope, not going to do it. Done with planes. I don't like planes. I'm fully Timmy Chandler on this, dude. All you need is one moron to leave out one screw in that plane, and that shit's going down, and you are dead. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing worse.
In fairness to that argument, all it takes is one moron on the highway to fall asleep at the wheel and crash into you.
Yes, but I am at the wheel. What if I make a superb decision to avoid that crash?
And you crash into the person next to you instead?
Well, there's all kinds of circumstances, but at least I get a chance to make the decision. I can't tell the pilot to say, move aside, buddy. I'm flying this in because I don't know how to fly, right? I
learn.
My dad knows how to fly.
You got about 4 years here, Derek. You could learn 3 years, I guess 3.5.
I guess
you could learn how to fly.
I could learn on a simulator or something like that. You know,
yeah.
I don't know. But it's funny that he mentioned that, right? The 2026 World Cup, because here's what's funny. There were a couple articles that came out today that were like, oh,
yeah, we qualified.
We qualified. They're going to let the hosts automatically qualify. Who was worried about that? Like even Jimmy's show had the headline, good news for World Cup hosts, qualified for 2026. Come on, Jimmy. You're better than that. You knew they were going to qualify. That's how it's been done for eons.
Well,
why are they going to suddenly change that?
I haven't seen the show, but I imagine it was in jest. Have to imagine it was in jest.
Was it?
I don't know. I haven't seen the show. I told you that.
I don't think it is. I don't know. I don't think it is.
Was it up for question? Since there's 3 countries hosting, whether or not all 3 would be included, automatically included.
Apparently, they weren't sure. Listen, I know FIFA does some weird shit, but that would be some super weird shit to say. Yeah, we're going to host it there in North America, but guess what? None of you guys get to actually automatically qualify. You're all going to
next time play submit by yourself.
I mean, can you imagine the World Cup going on the United States and we don't even qualify for it? That would be absurd. It would be absurd.
It'd be fucking nuts.
Yeah. So of course we're going to qualify. They were going to lose that money. They knew the U.S. wasn't going to play. They're going to lose millions of dollars of especially corporate support for that World Cup here in the United States. They're going to get all that money from Budweiser and everybody else because the U.S. are going to be in that World Cup. And same thing with Mexico.
And Budweiser won't have to worry about the U.S. balking on them as a sponsor.
Right. Well, and then same thing goes for Mexico, right? You think Bimbo is going to throw in their sponsorship dollars if the Mexican team doesn't make it?
What are you talking about?
Well, you know, Bimbo, the bread company, bread.
I know.
All right. Taylor says Derek needs a course in statistics. How so, my friend?
Right there.
Flying? Oh, no, I know it is. That's not what I'm saying. I know statistically flying is safer, but I'd rather be in control. So the problem here isn't a statistical problem, Taylor. It's an ego problem. I believe I can save myself, whereas I don't trust everybody else to save me. That's probably a little paranoia too. Timestamp on over on rape, murder, and pedophilia. Okay.
I want to see the chat. Give us a time frame. I want to see who's going to win this because we do have something that won't fall into those specific categories, but pretty damn close.
Oh, by the way, I just turned on my comments because guess what's fixed, people? The good computer. Woo! The good laptop is fixed.
Derek, and I will because your camera's not smudged.
It's probably a little smudged, but a lot less than the other one. So as far as we're not doing really any rape murder, really, I don't think today. And I made that all one word so we don't get hit for it. Because I think if you can't say the P word, I don't think you can say that maybe. I don't know if you can or not. Anyhow,
there are definitely some words you do not want to say.
Well, yeah.
Like you're not supposed to actually say stuff like murder or the K word, KILL. You're supposed to say in one's life or to Minecraft or something like that.
Oh.
Because there are certain key words that the algorithm will pick up and wait a second. Limited,
Well, that could be why some of our videos that have mentioned some of those things, like the B word.
It could be.
Guys
What's good in the shows?
Could have been on hold for a while. So, not Patrick, John. No, not Patrick at all. It was already used today, so we're going to avoid it. But there were two pieces of news today that did involve dying that I found really aggravating reading on the news today while I was at work
I will say,
eating my lunch. Go ahead.
Before you go into this, you tell me, because I don't want to be in the chat. I'm finding all the over and unders for the tidbit that I'm going to pull up.
Okay.
But I want you to say, okay, Brett, pull it up. Or pull it out. Whatever you want to say.
I don't think I'm going to say pull it out. That doesn't
pull it
sound
out, Brett.
right. Hey, Brett, pull it out. Hey, Brett, pull it out. All right. So there were two things. The first article was about a woman who in Australia who got stuck in a charity bin. That's where you throw the shoes and the clothes in the charity bin.
Sure,
She got in there halfway, couldn't get out, was there overnight. They found her dead in the morning. She was half in, half out. So
Berlin, that's not murder.
No,
that's not murder.
That's self-murder. And I was just wondering, in the article, they never mentioned a single time exactly how she died.
Yeah, that's what. Maybe the blood was rushing to her head or something.
I don't know.
I'm assuming she's like in, and her head's like pointing down to the ground, but her ass is in the air.
I get it, but I mean, don't you want to give us some idea? People don't usually die from getting stuck in things like that overnight. Like something else was going on there. Maybe she was so fat it closed off all the oxygen going into the box. Well, I'm sure there are other cracks in that box somewhere.
Whoa, wait a second, Derek. Whoa.
What?
Oxygen getting in the box. There's cracks in there.
I'm just saying.
Wait a second.
I believe that she still would have been able to breathe overnight.
Quit talking about her box.
Well, she was stuck in a box, a charity box bin. So anyhow, that pissed me off because I'm like, if I'm going to read that, tell me why she died, because simply her being stuck in the charity bin does not explain it at all. You're right. It does sound like a porn shoot gone wrong. Oh, you're stuck, eh? You're stuck, aren't you? And wow,
he must have been well endowed. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. And then the next one. Illinois man dies after lawnmower rolls over and pins him underneath. Okay. So his father, who had sent him off to mow another property at noon, notice this guy hasn't come home and it's like 7:30. So he goes out to drive out to the property. He finds his son underneath a tractor and apparently he's dead, but they don't ever say what he died from. Did he die because the tractor was on top of his chest and he couldn't breathe? Did he die?
To assume, Derek.
Did he die because the tractor rolled on top of his skull and squished it into little small parts?
This isn't one of those little kid tractors that they can get into and dig up sand and shit like that. This is a legit adult tractor, right?
Yes.
And it's on top of the guy, right?
Where on top? If it's on top of his legs and he can't get out, he should be able to live through that. They didn't say though.
Depends on how much he bled, I guess.
Because you can be pinned. His ankles could be stuck underneath there.
What was the movie based on the true story of the guy who got his arm pinned and he cut it off? It's like 127 days or something like that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine a little Swiss Army pocket knife sawing at your arm? Oh, I mean, I'd probably rather just die.
Didn't they have, wasn't Franco the actor?
He was it, yeah.
Perfectly unbelievable actor for that particular role, or believable, excuse me, because the guy was such a chucklehead.
You did say lawnmower, but then it's one of those tractor mowers.
Yeah, one of the ones you ride. Yeah,
yeah. I was thinking.
Can you imagine being pinned by a lawnmower, push lawnmower?
Well, no, that's what I was thinking, because I was like, here's a guy. He's like, he's watched one too many YouTube videos. He put a stake down on a rope, and he was going to have it automatically mow, and then it gets wrapped up, and eventually mows up a circle.
All right.
And he fell asleep, sunbathing in the United. You said it was in Illinois, right?
Yes, Illinois.
So he was sunbathing in the nice 45 to 50 degree weather we had recently, and the mower just ran over top of him. That's what I'm thinking.
I just don't think that'd kill you. It'd chop you up a bit, but I don't think it'd kill you.
I mean, those are some big fucking blades, man. I'm just saying.
I don't know. When I did all my research for my book about the evolution of Bloomington and the history of things like deaths by railway back in the 1880s and early 1900s, like the papers were gruesome. They were gruesome in the description. Like, you know why that motherfucker died. Because they're like, yes, his leg was behind his head and his heart was beating right next to his testicles. So, yeah, you knew he was dead or going to die. But they don't say enough here. So you're like, okay, he got pinned. All right. So what? He got pinned. That shouldn't kill you necessarily. This other chick got stuck in a fucking charity bin. How should that kill her? Automatically, you're assuming I'm just going to... So I guess everybody...
I bet you anything it was all the raccoons that were making homes inside the bins.
Well, and one of the police officers said that some people actually, when it gets really cold there, jump in those bins to stay warm. So maybe
Get out of my home, bitch.
Maybe what they didn't want to say is she was an overweight woman who got stuck in it. Maybe that's what they wanted to avoid, calling her fat.
Well, Tom has it right. The Illinois guy was just like Jeremy Renner getting run over by his snowcat.
Is Jeremy Renner okay? Didn't he?
He's recovering.
Okay.
He's still fucked up, but he's recovering.
All right. By the way, US. By the way, us the turd in the background, Derek's account. The turd in the background. By the way, us the turd.
Oh. Is the turd in the background Derek's account?
No.
It's not us. It's meant to, but
no.
It is.
No, we don't have time for
that. Again, Berlin. He barely can create. He can't even create a Twitter account. What makes you think he's going to have burners?
I would. If it was me, I'd tell you.
Although, I will say, the turd in the background clearly is somebody who comments on the show outside of the turd in the background, because there are long stints where he doesn't comment at all.
Yeah.
And he only comes up when he gets brought up.
Yes.
Somebody is real quick to switch back out.
So he's at least two people in this audience tonight, I believe, commenting on the side. That's just a theory we have. Now, as far as bringing back the dog, let's say, for instance, D-Rec, that is something I have to talk to Pete about this, but I believe what I'm going to do is bring back the dog. Now, this was the old D-Rec. He doesn't have a wig anymore. I need to put a wig on.
That's not the same D-Rec, is it really?
No, it's not the exact same one, but we did do some live scenes with the dog. And he had a wig on. He had a wig on.
That was a different stuff.
Right.
Okay.
No,
that doesn't look anything like it.
No, it is the same one. It's just that with the hairdo, you just didn't notice because you couldn't see the ears and all that.
Look who showed up.
So we would do a show where the dog here would talk, and that would be the turd's voice, and that would be D-Rec. So he'd say, "Welcome to the straight red card." So my idea is to get together with Pete and send him a crow and have him be Jurgen Klinsmann and use the crow, and we can do a Jurgen and D-Rec sort of set show together, maybe even have a script. I don't know, because he does a great Jurgen Klinsmann, and we won't say Klinsmann. We'll just call the crow Jurgen. It'll be pretty obvious who the crow is, and then we'll do social commentary on soccer.
What was the name of the fucking sheep? That's the puppet sheep show. Fuck that. What is that called? Oh God, that's ages. Like that's back in the Johnny Carson era. Yeah, that was back in Derek's youth. I know.
Yes, it was. So anyhow, that's an idea. Let us know what you think of that idea. I think it'd be fun to do some skits, like 5-minute skits with Pete, where we comment on something. Oh, show him the
lamb chop.
Lamb chop. Yep. Show him the crow I'm going to send Pete.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I mean, after I talk to him about it, I haven't even presented this idea to him. So it'll be cool because this crow looks a lot like Jurgen Klinsmann because it has a big nose. And I think that'll be funny. Anyhow, Go Galazzo says, how far did Derek just have his hand up that dog's ass? I think it just licked its finger.
all of the away.
Taylor, I don't think that Pete would block me. He would not. I think that's a perfect Jurgen Klinsmann right there. Can you already see him talking? I think you have to go straight for you have to get in. You have to fight hard. You have to make hard decisions. And sometimes you have to stick your foot in.
Landon, I've already left you off one World Cup roster.
I think I sound more like Arnold Schwarzenegger than I do Jurgen Klinsmann.
Get to the chopper. Do it now.
It's not a brain tumor.
It's not a tumor.
All right. So you've got some stuff, I guess, right?
Oh, we're at 20 minutes. And you know what? I think Chris had 20 minutes on the fucking dot.
Here we go.
And it's ironic because this was presented by Chris as well.
Oh, well, this wasn't in cahoots with him, though.
No, just so
he had no idea when this was coming up. And I don't even know.
Chris Fairburn, not you, Chris Gary.
I don't even know what the fuck this is going to be because Brett won't tell me.
No, it's much better this way.
Okay.
Read. Can you read?
Yes. Can I read? Yes, on at least the third grade level. All right. Masturbation notice. All students are hereby notified that masturbation in the Kylene High School toilets is a violation of the Kylene Independent School District Code of Conduct. By the way, that's in Texas.
Nice. I had no idea.
Yeah, it is prohibited to masturbate in the bathroom floors and stalls. Bathroom school pipes are not designed to handle semen-related costs run into the thousands every year. Holy shit! Are you serious? Man, they need some new pipes.
How often is that really happening? I mean, I guess now that phones are prevalent, and
I guess it must be happening a lot.
Do whatever you want to do.
The pipes.
I mean, I was saying back when I was in high school, I had that old school Nokia phone that all spy movies have. And
yeah.
The only thing growing there was the snake as I collected all the little dots on the game.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I never
downloading porn on that. It's not going to happen.
No, exactly, and I think maybe that's the problem here. It says.
Yeah, Joey had a spot on there.
Pipes can't handle shit. Yeah, I know it's really weird, but I guess semen's made up of some fucking deadly ass sticky shit. I never know. I've never swallowed any, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they can swallow it, but they can't go down pipes. What's happening?
It can't go down fucking ceramic and metal pipes. I just don't understand it. Please refrain from masturbating during school hours. And do it at your own time at home. Oh, I'm sure the parents appreciate that.
Well, that's a really bad for being a school. Listen to that. And do it at your own times at home.
Yeah, that's poorly written, number one. And number two, it's like, hey, when you get home, you just jerk off all over the place. I'm sure the parents are going to be happy about that. Just like a sprinkler all around the house. Hey, Mom, school told me to do it all the time when I'm home. So here I go.
Oh, all right.
Man. That's pretty
Chris
good.
Gary says they must have some hot teachers at that school.
I doubt it's the teachers, Chris. I really do. If you remember going to high
what the
school.
Hell does there's a obviously like baby wipes and stuff like that, and people use those type of wipes anyways instead of toilet paper. You're not supposed to flush that down the toilet because they get caught up and they cause these issues in the actual sewage and plumbing. And I forgot what they're called. There's an actual term for it. I think it's stemmed from the UK. The UK has these.
Sounds like you need to work for Kylene School District, right?
Probably, yeah.
By the way, before he's off the screen, Go Golazo says, Derek, really enjoyed your band's new release. Awesome. Being an OG indie rocker. Oh, it's off. It's gone. There we go. Oh, okay. Did your band ever play with Datura seeds back in the day? No, we did not. We played with Guided by Voices. Oh shit, we've got a bunch of the posters here. I should probably look at who the bands we played with are. There's some big ones on here. Anyhow, maybe I'll bring one down next show and show you who we played with.
Right on, Go Golazo.
Thank you, man, for buying the record. Appreciate it.
Brian DeMarco has given me the assist here. He scored. I assisted him. He scored. They're called Fatbergs. Basically, when you throw down like baby wipes and shit like that into toilets and flush it, they get caught up and they cause these growths in sewage pipes. They call Fatbergs, and people have to go down in there and like scrape the shit out.
Nice. And semen does that specifically?
Apparently, it must. Yeah, build up over time.
Well, here's another idea to Kylene School District. Maybe your district, whatever mascot shouldn't be a fucking kangaroo. Doing, 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 doing. Pick something that doesn't jump up and down.
Yeah.
Maybe a turtle or something like that. All right. Where are we? I would say get the poster now, but we all know Derek has no pants on. That's so true. You are right, John. I don't. And I really don't want you to see my hard-boiled eggs. All right. What do we got?
But yeah, so my response was so many jokes to be made, so little time. Perhaps tonight would be a suitable time to crack them all.
So is this where the pedo stuff was getting the check off here? Because I don't think that really cracked it. By the way,
it's close. I said it was a close addition to it all.
When I was just a sophomore / junior or whatever in high school, I think it was junior year, I was only 16 and my girlfriend was 18 and she was a senior and her name was Jessica. And so, I mean, 18 doesn't fit into the pedo world, right? That's a grown ass woman at that point. Brian DeMarco, pious girls lead to ruined pipes, apparently. Pious? I don't think there's a whole lot of piety going on at Killian School District. Trust me. Nor I mean, listen, if the women had the same issue with the consistency of their fluids, I'm sure we would have the same problem in the other bathroom, to be really honest with you. I'm sure this is not just dudes going at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's equal thing here going. Not equal. I'm for sure the guys are jerking off way more than the chicks are. There's no doubt about it. Oh, come on. We all know that. Eduardo Gomez says, does Andrew Carlton count as a U.S. men's national team flop? Well, that's funny you mentioned that.
We're going to get to that, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I wanted to bring it up because Eduardo definitely brings up here, and we still have about another 40 minutes until we get to the actual topic.
No, we're not going to go that long. Come on. Some people have come here for the topic. And by the way, what else is
stupid of them?
Go back to him real quick.
Oh, here we go.
He always looked promising in youth tournaments, but his senior career never panned out because he's sort of dumb. He didn't say that. I
was going to say, where did that come from? Yeah. No, did I miss a part there? No, but he's spot on, and we're going to talk about this. But yeah, players develop at a different pace. Sometimes you're just a starlet at the youth levels, and then you flame out because everybody fucking catches up to you later.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Andrew Carlton were a light bulb, he would have multiple colors and he'd look really fancy. And then when you plugged him in, he'd be half dead because there wasn't a lot working right up here with Andrew Carlton. Mm-hmm. And he was a kid, man, who just didn't learn to grow up. It's like, dude, grow up. Put your big point. I
was hoping when he was loaned out to Indy that he was going to swallow his pride and then put his nose to the grinder in that sense. But that didn't happen.
By the way, John,
I liked him at Indy, though.
Yeah, he's fine. Although I hated his remember the stills they used to do at the beginning? What was his? It was so disturbing. It was all like he was grabbing his shirt and then it was some sort of symbol he made with his hand. I was like, shut up, bitch. Get off our team. No, I don't think it was that. And John Rex says, here's the pedophilia. You were a minor. She was a pedo. I don't think so. Back then, we didn't think of shit like that. That just never crossed anybody's mind. We were both in high school. It's all fair game from 9 to 12. Nobody cared. No one even thought about that shit back in the 1980s. Now, in fact, there was a chick who was a freshman who was dating some guy at West Point, okay, who was like 6 years her fucking senior, and no one said a thing. The teachers knew about it. She was a freshman. She was like 14, 15 years old, and he's like 20. No one said a word. No, everyone said that's just fine. Like, even I thought that was a little weird. You're dating some guy in college, and you're a freshman in high school? What? Yeah, he goes to West Point. No, maybe she made it up. I don't know.
I was trying to figure out what the 9 to 12 was as well.
Grades 9 to 12, you sicko. Come on, John. Jesus H. Christ. Grades 9 through 12, high school. All right. What are we doing now?
We're no longer in the silly season, Derek, but transfer news still continues.
You don't say.
Continues.
You don't say.
All right. So we got some more Louisville players on the move, possibly.
All three are good spots for young players. Benfica, Monaco, Red Bull, Salzburg have probably made offers for Josh Winder or Winder. Haven't really figured that one out yet. Someone can let us know.
Benfica and Monaco are leading the chase for the permanent move fee at roughly 1.5 mil.
You'd be better off to go to Salzburg out of all of them. Let's be really honest here. He ain't getting minutes with those other teams.
But do you think Louisville's going to care?
No.
So if Benfica comes at 2 mil and Salzburg is like 1 mil, do you think Louisville's going to be like, where do you want to go? You want to go to Salzburg? Yeah?
I believe all his contracts are 1 year by 1 year by 1 year.
No,
so
that's a great thing about USL at this point. It is literally you can do by year.
Louisville's not going to make a penny unless he was developed in Louisville.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the thing though, because that's a murky situation because you can start taking into consideration that he was developed there, not necessarily as per se youth, and they
might get a 10 or 15% buy-on fee, but I don't know. I don't know what they're going to get out of that because as I understand it, a lot of these young kids are playing on USL teams because that means they don't have to sign a fucking 3-year-long MLS deal.
Not only just the 3 year, it's 3 year plus extension years. So like you're looking at 5-year minimum contract if you're a decent player.
Yes.
Or you're looking at like a 1 year and then you get cut. So MLS is I'm really starting to lean towards USL for our youth players because of those smaller contracts. Although if I was USL, I'd say a minimum of a 2-year contract. A maximum of a 2-year contract. Because then if they do the 1 year and they get transferred, then they're at least making something.
Yeah, and even that, let's say you do go the MLS route and you're in the MLS Academy. Well, then you're just going to be playing other boys. You're not going to be playing grown men. At least you go to USL, you play grown fucking men. Now with the whole MLS, what's it called? Next Pro? What's it called, Brett? Is that
MLS Next Pro, yeah.
Yeah, all that happiness and gaiety, that needs to be cut out.
Okay, so let's see. We're kind of bringing that up. I might as well bring this up real quick. This is just a fun little meme.
Oh, by the way, Antonio Banderas says statutory rape rock was a thing back. Rape rock? Well, all I can tell you is back in the 80s, nobody really talked about that. Just if you were in high school, it was fair game. From freshman through senior, nobody talked about it or cared about it. Nobody thought about it. It's like, okay, we're in the same building. We're all generally the same age. So and most states have laws like that allow for like 18 and 16 and 18 and 15 as long as they're anyhow, they're all different for every state. So.
I feel like it's the same mentality even when I was in high school, quite frankly. But when you turned 18, you're like you cut that off. I mean, when I was in high school, even if you were still in high school, yeah, absolutely. Fortunately, I never had that situation, but.
Well, I didn't turn 18 until I got to college. So there's that.
You were statutory raped, huh?
Twice, apparently, because I started going out with Heather and moved in with her at IU, and she was 3 years older than me. She was 21. So,
you sick fuck.
Yeah, I got dominated. All right. Okay.
Nerds.
She's like, put it here. Now put it in there. That kind of thing. All right. So I learned a lot, though. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this is a nice little meme of MLS saying, "Hey, come buy our season pass. It's $15."
Uh-huh.
And it's like Euro snobs are going, "Nah, I'll pass."
I really hate that term, Euro snob.
Sure.
Hey,
it is what it is. I'm not overly concerned.
It's getting old. Like everybody that's critical of MLS in any way now is a Euro snob. Even though we've been watching it for 10 years, 15 years now.
It's 96 for me.
Yeah.
98. Sorry, 98. I was a Chicago fan.
Yeah, I was 95, I believe. So, I mean, come on.
Before MLS even kicked off, you were a fan, huh?
No.
96 was the first year.
No. Yeah, I know. But it was supposed to start in 95. They just couldn't get it off the ground. But I noticed all the players being signed to all the different teams, and I was excited seeing some of the, like Harks coming back and Lawless getting signed by, because back then you're like, oh yeah, those were the guys in the 2000, in the first, World Cup in the United States forever and ever. So John Rex says, are you okay? I'm seeing fine. I'm as giggity as usual. Right, Antonio Bernardes?
I think he's concerned about your mental state from being statutory raped.
I loved it. I'm all for it.
So, taken out of context, it's going to be weird.
No, because, listen, the rules were just different then. They just were different. I don't even know what the laws were actually back then. I don't think anybody talked about it.
Everybody just fucked back then.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious if you were in high school, you weren't supposed to be fucking the middle schoolers. Everybody were like, oh, what are you doing? Those are kids.
Right, we're gonna change conversations now, because even though you're like, we know that you're not supposed to, this is still taking a dark turn here.
All I'm saying is we didn't talk about the laws because we didn't know the laws, but we had the morals to understand what crossed the line, which is why I was telling you when that freshman girl said she was dating some guy at West Point. First of all, I thought he's in West Point. He should know better. And second thing is, I'm like, there's a 6-year difference between that. And she's like 14 years old. Like, I knew that was wrong. I just knew it inherently. And so, yeah, anyhow, you don't need to know the law to know that something that's right about that.
Well, there's also the question of the fine line. That's it's like, somebody who you're saying, oh, if you're in the same school, it was okay, 9 through 12, whatever,
Grades.
But grades 9 through 12. I guess you should specify that. But I mean, you're like literally looking at it like it was like from 8th to 9th grade, transition immediately. You're 9th grade. Okay. Same thing with the whole statutory rape thing. It's like 17 years and 364 days, still statutory rape. But once you flip over to 18, it's no longer.
But it's not the same in every state.
What you're saying.
No, it's not the same in every state, just so you know. It changes from state to state to state. You can actually get married in some states in this fucking country at the age of 15 still.
All right, yes. Who had 37 minutes? We didn't talk about murder or I guess we kind of talked about rape now too, so it's not even pedophilia.
Chris Hansen has entered the chat.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That's hilarious.
Okay,
all right.
Back to transfer news, Derek.
Okay,
we got more transfer news
before we get totally canceled. Please, let's do this.
We're 40 minutes.
And we haven't even said anything bad.
I want to change the name of the title of the show, man.
We haven't even said. I'm here defending, that is a bad thing when there's a big distance, and yet here we are stuck in this weird situation.
Oh, man.
Ledesma will get a loan to NYCFC as long as he signs a 1-year extension at PSV. What's that? Okay, well. So that's not going to help his injuries, and it's not going to help his future.
But I mean, he can get healthy and he can get more playing time at New York City FC.
Okay, hold on.
PSV wants him to sign an extension of a year to his contract, so that year wasn't lost, I guess.
Well, all I can say is PSV have been nicer than I could possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
They have paid him. They have kept him on. They must think something of him because. They've kept him on even though he's basically can't play and hasn't been able to play for basically 3 years.
The times he has played for PSV, he's looked good. Let's put it that way, I guess. And for John, he's doing well there. But your point, out of however many years he's been there, let's just say 3 years, he's been injured for like 2.8% or 2.8 of it.
Yeah,
he's been injured. He's been injured nonstop.
Right, and like Brian. Doghouse, I was also pretty high on Ledesma too, but usually I'm high on Jenny Cush.
I still am. I still expect him to be good. It's just if he's going to continue having injuries, he's going to go the John O'Brien route.
I'm going to have to try that strand, by the way, Doghouse, the Ledesma strand. Oh yeah. All right, what else you got?
Well, let's take a look here. What's next?
I want to get
so
high. By the way, I saw Cypress Hill on Joe Rogan's show. Be Real was on Joe Rogan, and a lot of people are going, "Who's Be Real?" Cypress Hill, man. You remember Cypress Hill, Brett? Cypress
Hill? I do.
Okay. He was fun to watch on Rogan. I only got the YouTube version because I don't have a subscription to whatever else he's on. All right, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
I can't remember his name. He starts with a P, and now he's at Zay, I think, playing for their second team.
Oh yeah.
He's or something like that. Or...
Yeah, we're not ready to call him
there it is.
Totally dead yet. Pinadath. Yeah, he's too young. He won't be a part of this group tonight.
No, not quite. Yeah, he's still. Yeah, no.
I'm not ready to send him to the gallows.
So Derek, I know you follow the news pretty closely, and I'm sure you've heard of this horrific earthquake that took place in Turkey. Like literally ripped the land apart. Like
yes.
Like cartoonishly separated with a huge crevice.
I don't sense a lot of humor coming out of this topic.
Not really.
Okay.
No, there's nothing really humorous about this.
No, I just okay, why don't you just bring us down there, fucking Debbie?
Try my best. Okay. Read what ESPN says.
10,000 mobile homes used for World Cup accommodation are being shipped to Turkey and Syria to house displaced families as part of the relief effort after last week's devastating earthquake, Qatari sources have confirmed to ESPN. I hope they donated those fuckers. They better have donated them. This better not be like you got to pay up Turkey.
So yeah, no. So the big problem here, a big problem some people are bringing up here is that especially the mainstream media, and this is American Soccer United brings this up, but basically people are giving Qatar like applause for this, and which it is a good thing. Yeah, I'm going to flat out say this is a good thing. It's good for the people of Turkey. But it is kind of like we turned our blinds eye to what happened in Qatar to make the World Cup a thing.
We didn't.
No, we didn't. Let's put the mainstream media in general.
Alexi Lawless did.
Yeah.
So did his good buddy Stu.
But you're pointing
dressing up like clowns for the fucking World Cup. It was embarrassment.
Derek, win in Qatar, man. Win in Qatar.
When in Qatar, become a total fucking clown, or actually just be the clown that you are, because we already knew you were a clown. All right, anyhow.
So yeah, American Soccer United says giving crappy trailers that you don't need anymore because it'll give you good PR because people are idiots and distract from the people you killed and forced into slavery.
Well, I hate to break it to American Soccer United, but that shit's so buried underneath, no one cares. And that's sad.
Gonna make the comment about. Are you talking about the people who died? There?
I'm talking about the slavery. No one cared about it.
Well, that's the thing.
No one talks about it. No one talked about it during the World Cup hardly. No one talked about it after the World Cup. Certainly, nobody's talking about right now. So, and ESPN, I'm sure they get the big clappy, but it's just a buried issue that no one's going to discuss.
My take on this was, again, it's great for the people of Turkey. They get the temporary housing they need while they recover from this horrific natural disaster. And Qatar gets to get rid of an eyesore. So it's win-win, right? Everybody wins.
Yeah, that's why I said it should be free.
You look at Qatar, and Qatar is selling the one city they have in that desert of a nation where everything's like crazy and exorbitant. You have these massive high rises, a crazy looking architecture phenoms, and they have these shipping containers just literally sitting by the hundreds, if not thousands. They're sitting there going like, "What the fuck can we do with these?" And then an earthquake happens, like, "Oh, thank you," and then we'll ship them off.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying.
So again, I'm not taking away from the fact that this is going to help the people of Turkey. I'm stoked about that. I'm glad that it's going to be a benefit for them. It's just, I agree with American Soccer United in the sense that people are overlooking one horrible, tenure of shit by one nice thing.
Yeah, it's the messenger.
Yeah,
that's the problem here. ESPN FC. That's the messenger's the problem. I don't know who runs ESPN FC's Tweetmobile or whatever, but I know it ain't Seb.
Yeah.
I know it ain't.
Yeah, John on my side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, that's just It's a fun little topic.
It
goes in line with our show. Let's have fun. Let's have fun.
It's just the general how all this shit works now. It's like whoever's really in power can warp and make up whatever narrative they want. And the establishment media is just going to run it for them. That's where we're at. That's all I'm saying. There's many. All right. Taylor, my club donated 5K European to Turkey. Berlin, the second largest Turkish city, probably did more than all of Turkey. Yeah, it is actually, I believe population wise, it is the second largest Turkish city in the world.
Yeah. So another hot topic on the U.S. men's national team front is who are we going to get to run our team for this cycle, Derek? And it's something we've all asked ourselves 100 times.
I don't even care anymore.
We do. We're going to bring this up.
Right.
So the question is, Derek, when it comes to U.S. men's national team manager, who would you prefer?
I'm sorry. Thierry Henry's been a flop wherever he's gone.
Okay.
I love me some Thierry Henry back when he was a player, but it doesn't seem like managing his shtick. And he is the sort of dry, remote character on Paramount's halftime and post-game show. I find his dryness entertaining in a way. I just don't know. And not after some of the things he said about Pulisic.
Yeah.
I don't know. He wouldn't be my choice. Give me somebody with some actual goddamn experience. Neither. I want neither of these two. I'll take Jesse over Thierry Henry.
If you take Henry can awe and inspire the players because they look up to him, they respect him, and then you just get a bunch of assistant coach that run the practice. It's like Jurgen Klinsmann all over again.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Jurgen Klinsmann was the voice. He just went out there. Come on, we got to do better than this. Talk to the assistants. They'll tell you what to do.
Henry was making the case for himself being manager last night.
Yeah, that's why
yesterday on Paramount. Yeah.
Quite frankly, Derek, I think the bigger question here isn't which of these two are going to be the next U.S. men's national team manager. I'm curious why Henry is sniffing the stink. That's my question.
He's, I don't know, doing his best Jurgi love. I don't know. I don't know. But listen, yeah.
He's like, nah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the pink, man. I'm worried more about the stink,
Am I really supposed to have an opinion about these two? I guess I am. I'd say no on Thierry. And I would say, please, not necessarily. Jesse's not my first pick. I'm sorry, he's not. He is an idealist. He's a dogmatist. Now, if he pledged allegiance to a lack of conformity, I would say, okay, like if he did a little brownie thing and he said, I hear Jozy Marsch pledge to not be a dogmatist when managing the U.S. men's national team. I, Jozy Marsch, will look for the best players and form a system around the players that will best suit my best players. I, Jozy Marsch, will not make this system about me, Jozy Marsch, and my system. I, Jozy Marsch, will not be Greg Berhalter. Thank you. If he says all those things, I give him the job.
Well, see, now that's the thing. We've actually, just like Berhalter, quite frankly, we've only seen him at the club level. We have no idea how he would perform with the national team. Will he be a dogmatist as far as for most system?
We got some hints that he is.
Or would he take the players that he has and form a system based off that? I don't know.
Okay, when he first got to Leeds, he was sort of pragmatic. He didn't have any choice, right? So he can do it. But then for the last 6-7 months, it's all about ramming his system down these guys' throats and not adjusting for the opponent's adjustments. So, I mean, to me, if you can't make adjustments outside of, swapping one guy for the same kind of player, just a fresher one, yet you're still being beaten in a systemic and tactical way, that shows me you've got no ability to be flexible. And I don't like that as a national team manager. Right now, I don't, and he would have to prove it to me otherwise. But I'm not hiring him. So some guy they haven't even hired yet is going to hire him. That's a crazy thing. Jose Negron says for $4.99. Thank you, Jose. Who is your guys' first pick now? I think we're running out of choices, honestly.
Yeah.
Because Matarazzo would have been interesting.
You beat me to it. That would have been
Yeah.
my pick, quite frankly, because we already know that he's
super
managed,
flexible. Yeah.
he's managed to keep a team up with no budget and should be a bottom feeder in that sense, given what's given to him.
Yeah.
But he managed to keep him up for a number of years.
Yep.
So you throw to him. What that tells me is that he's able to take a team of players that he has available to him, and he manages to get the results, and at least enough results.
Right.
So I see him looking at this team and saying, "Well, here are my talented players. This is what I'm going to do with them." So that's why I was going to say he would have been my first pick, but he's at Hoffenheim now, or Hoffenheim.
Right. Yep.
Hoffenheim? Yeah.
Yep. Hoffenheim.
Or
so that's over. Had Jesse taken that Southampton job, which, you know, they were like, hey, we'll give you this short contract. If you come in and save the team, we'll renegotiate afterwards if you keep us up. And Jesse's like, nah, fuck that. I want like a 2 or 3 year deal. And they're like, nah, fuck you, get out of the office. And that was the end of that conversation right there. But if listen, if I had to pick one of the MLS coaches, I'd certainly go with Jim Curtin, because that's still an improvement over Greg. And at least I know that he can be flexible. As far as the big names, like, I would be okay with a lot of the big names that have been brought up, but a lot of them have already got new jobs now. So I don't know. I mean, is Jose Mourinho really going to take a job with the U.S. men's national team? I'd love Hugo Perez, but he ain't part of the clique at U.S. Soccer. And he's never really been, not since at least, I don't know, the early 2000s. So even though Hugo's shown he can take a team that's supposed to be pretty much near the bottom and overperform with them, and do some good recruiting in the States to get players that weren't necessarily going to play for El Salvador. Yeah, I mean, I'd love Hugo Perez. I'm a huge Hugo fan. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't think he has a shot. So when you ask me who would be my pick, I'm thinking, well, I'd like that guy. I would say somebody like Hugo Perez, but then my brain says, well, that ain't realistic, because that ain't happening. So why bring up a name that just ain't going to happen? Because it ain't. Mm-hmm. All right. There's my response to that. Why? Oh, somebody asked, you don't think Mourinho is realistic?
Chris,
tell me, Chris, why I should believe it is. Because if you have some information, I know he's said stuff about it before. I know he's talked about it.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Chris is being a little sarcastic here. It's like, you have to say it differently. You don't think Moreno's realistic? What? There it is. It was sarcastic. LOL.
Perfect. Wesley Nickens says there was a rumor of a meeting with Mourinho. I haven't not heard that rumor yet. So Adrian Heath will take us to the promised land. He takes a lot of guff, Adrian Heath, but he's not altogether horrible. I mean, he's your standard English manager that will never, ever coach in the Premier League. It's just over here getting a job. You know, he's done all right with certain teams, certain times. And
Derek, I think Berlin wants us to know that the U.S. women's national team won 2-0.
Is that game over already?
It is.
Okay. Well, congratulations to the women. I did not watch the game, nor did I plan on watching it. It was against Canada, right? I would usually watch the game. No. You know, I would watch it.
I don't recall the last women's national team national team game I've seen.
Yeah, usually I just watch the actual qualifiers and the actual games at the World Cup. I don't really watch these fuck around friendly things. The only reason I cover the American friendlies, which are fuck around friendlies, is because I have to. So for this show. Otherwise, I probably want to skip most of the ones I've seen recently. Wouldn't you, Brett? Like the two before the World Cup were awful. The ones we just watched were awful. So yeah, they're fiddly fucking friendlies. They're going to suck most of the time. Laughing out loud, fuck. I'm not saying that.
I was seeing if Derek would say it. Berlin is not the biggest fan of the women's national team right now.
Yeah, there are a lot of people like that.
Get some work there, I guess, to win them back over.
Yeah, well, as much as there are individuals on that team who might irritate you, try to keep in mind it's probably not the whole team. So if you're not going to support the whole team because of a few individuals, I don't know, you're welcome to do it. I mean, but I try to think of the players in the locker room who were playing like 2 years ago who were not like a part of the crew that you don't like. And
So-
I was you could support them because they're not part of whatever.
So
the parts
yeah,
you
it's
don't like.
you guess you can take into consideration if you don't agree with what a handful of the players were standing for, or saying, or whatever. And I'm sorry, guys. I don't follow the women's game. There's just way too many games for me to follow already, and I've got a family. For the guys between Europe, MLS, and the United States national team, I just don't have time.
God, yeah.
I just don't have time.
Absolutely fucking no time.
But I mean,
we barely squeeze in all the games we need to watch.
Exactly. and we missed quite a few of them too, still. But yeah, I mean, if there have definitely been some players that have come out and said, "Hey, these people were saying stuff that's their own agenda. That's not what I stand for." You can take whatever side you want to if you want to take a side. My personal opinion is not to have an opinion on it. Quite frankly, I'm just like whatever. I'm neither care at this point.
I just assume the team is not a monolith. I always assume that they're outliers and people with different opinions, and that you don't have to think of it as a monolith. And I'll just support the part of the team that I want to support. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how you justify it.
That's true. You could still watch a team and watch it for probably the 2/3 of the team doesn't fit the bill that you're describing. Quite frankly.
Yeah, just keep in mind, this is a bunch of individuals, right? So they're all going to have their different points of view. Well, not all of them, but some of them are going to have different points of view, and you're just not going to hear about it because they're not allowed to talk about it. And I don't know. Again, I don't know what you're thinking they think, and I don't know what you're thinking. So I'm just saying generally, I watch the games and don't worry about it because there's nothing I can do about 1 or 2, 3 people. And I don't even know half the shit they say anyhow. So Jesse Negron, nothing I want to watch more than that Camp Cupcake friendly versus Colombia. Oh, you got to put an extra O in Colombia. It's Colombia. Got to go rewatch it again. Actually, you do. You're a fucking really a glutton for punishment.
Well, and that's the thing too. We'll call out these matches. We'll call them for what they are, and we'll call it the players and their performances, and take with a grain of salt, etc., etc.
Yeah. And then Berlin says, not allowed to talk about it. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's really probably the worst thing about it is that some people get to talk and others don't. Although that's not completely true. We've seen players that came out and recently retired say, yeah, I didn't like that shit. And I'm saying it now that I'm retiring. It's not something I liked. And I think it was a distraction from the game, and it was distraction for the team. So, yeah, I mean, eventually they come out, but it's sad that, I don't know. I don't want to get into fucking, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it. All right, Chris Gary, Berlin Amerikaner, has a Megan Rapinoe poster in his room. I somehow doubt that. I really do.
What?
Unless he's a sadist and he uses it for, well, whatever purposes that he wants.
That's a dangerous topic right there, too.
Yeah.
But Derek.
Yes.
You might not know this, but there is a certain portion of the population of the U.S. men's national team fan base that is not liking on Reyna so much right now.
You don't
Are you familiar with this? This is a new phenomenon.
Okay.
New phenomenon of people just disliking him for reasons.
Okay. Who's that?
At this one, after the Champions League game.
Why isn't Terzic bringing Gio Reyna on? Well, I can tell you why, but we'll get into that afterwards. I was led to believe the U.S. men's national team fans that Gio Reyna is a good sub to make when up a goal defending a result. Nobody's ever said that.
No, so no, I will specify. I've said on a number of times that there are 2 different ways you can play out a game or control a game. You can certainly bring in a bunch of defensive players and bunker and park the bus.
And that's what they did.
Or you can bring in players that will maintain possession and control the game as well. And then this
against Chelsea, whom they knew they were not going to have the bulk of the control against.
This is the difference too, because specifically what he's referring to is the Wales, which was never going to happen because he was serving his punishment then, but primarily the Iran game. I've stated a number of times that I hate the fact that we parked the bus against Iran. And we allowed them to have chance after chance for like the last 25 to 30 minutes of nonstop berating us. When I think you could easily have brought in Reyna instead of Acosta, pushed Musa back to a double pivot, and let Acosta try to control the midfield a little bit. Or sorry, Reyna control the midfield a bit.
I guess. He could have.
I hate, especially the time when we did it, I hate parking the bus. Parking the bus occurs in the final 10 minutes.
Hold on. That's all fine and dandy, but that was the fucking World Cup. This guy's talking about the game that would just happen. Dortmund versus Chelsea. Dortmund's up they're up 1-0. There's 20 minutes to go. Dortmund uses their remaining subs on defensive because they know they're not going to have possession.
Sure.
So, yeah, dude.
No,
Gio Reyna is not going to come in.
This has nothing to do with the Champions League match. This is a smoke screen. He is mocking. I'm assuming it's a he, but he is mocking the fans who were saying during the World Cup that they should have brought Reyna in during the Iran game.
Well, his mocking is dumb.
Yes, I 100% agree.
I'm saying childish.
Ignore the Champions League match because it has nothing to do with anything what he's talking about.
It's myopic. It's self-serving. Yeah, Lionel, whatever your fucking name is. Quit being a self-serving bitch. Because that's what you just did there. You twisted this all up to make your own point, but you didn't realize your point is so myopic and so fucking dumb that everyone can see through what you're doing. Like, get a fucking clue, dude. Oh, yeah, your twisted logic. I'm going to get you with this twisted logic I'm about to use. No, you didn't get anybody, dude. You just used twisted logic, and you look like a fucking dumbass. That's what you look like. All right, David D. Yeah, Iran ain't world beaters. That was insane to do. We almost conceded by that idiotic 3G tactic. Yeah, I didn't like that either. I agree with Brett. I didn't like shutting it down because I think that just allowed them to come at us for the rest of the game, and that didn't have to happen. But in fucking Dortmund's case, they knew Chelsea were coming at them, and they better shore up the defense. And you're not bringing Reyna in to do that.
If the United States went 1-up against Holland, let's just say, let's rewind time and say they were up 1-0 against Holland, and we're in the final 20-25 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Park that fucking bus. Throw in 55 center backs and clear all that shit out.
Yep.
But you know, we're playing Iran at the time. I mean, come on.
We're not playing Chelsea. We're playing Iran.
We dominated that first half, and then we came out in the second half, and
yeah, just did that. So this is false logic. Don't listen to twats like this, because twats like this think they're smart. What they don't realize is that people know what the fuck that they're talking about and see through all their little shit, know that they're twats. So quit being a twat.
Twat.
Quit being a twat.
Quit being a twat.
Quit putting out tweets that make you look like a twat, because that's what happened there. What was
Derek? I have a big soccer post up here, all the way back to like 2013 about biggest flops in U.S. men's national team history. Do you want to tell us about this?
Is it tab 12?
Yes.
Scroll down to the guy who defends Freddie Adu.
Well, could you give me a name by chance?
I can't remember now.
Okay, I'm going to bring it up. You tell me when to stop, okay? How about that?
Oh, my God, that's so small.
All right, let's go back to the top. So here we go. Tom Collingsworth.
No, it's near the bottom. So keep on going. I just think some of these didn't age well.
Sure. This one? Wait, hold on. This one? So really when we say Freddie Adu is a flop,
we should be saying is, boy, we were wrong about Freddie Adu, or the experts sure were wrong about Adu. Adu isn't the flop. We are. What? No. Freddie Adu's clearly a flop by any measure of it. Okay? I know we all overestimated him, but he was a decent player, and he's even come out and said, I could have been a decent player, but I didn't work hard enough, and I didn't put the effort in. So that makes you a flop, Freddie Adu. We can take him off the list. Everybody knew he was going to be on it anyhow. Clearly, he was a flop. He was a flop in 2013. Yeah. He was a flop in 2014 already.
But the thing is, the hype was real because he was a very talented young player. But he didn't amount to shit is the problem.
You and I didn't buy into that. All right? Nobody really bought into that.
He had 7 U20 World Cups that he participated in.
Yeah,
so one would think that he could possibly perform, but
even after that, we were all in wait and see mode. We weren't like, ready to put the crown on him or anything. We were wait and see.
Yeah.
But by 2014, 2013, we knew this shit was done. Because then he went off to Brazil. And then there's a guy later on in this thread who's like, hey, don't forget he's still playing some games in Brazil.
Every single fucking post has an ad under it. This hurts my eyes. What happened to Big Soccer?
I don't know. But yeah, the guy defending him by saying he's getting some minutes at Bahia. Yeah, he barely got minutes in Brazil. Barely any. And they shipped him off as quick as they could. So they sent him away. They're like, we don't want this guy. What were we thinking?
But Hunter X, what did you do to get a red card?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, enough of that. That's fine.
In this, whatever. But I mean,
if you can't find it, that's cool.
I have no idea what I'm really looking for. I mean, you should have probably specified some names here, man.
Well, some guys talk about Zetala being a bust. It was good shit. It was good shit for the most part. Except for Freddie Adu supporters.
What's great about this, and I can't believe that you managed to find a specific page for this. I'm assuming you Googled it and you just clicked on it and it pulled 12.
It's crazy. I put flops in U.S. men's national team history, and of course, that's the title of this page. So,
I love the fact that this is back in 2013. We're already talking about it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Back in the day, man, Big Soccer was already based. Quite frankly, it was already there.
2013.
It was such a blast.
2013, it was still going okay strong.
Yeah, no, we were still on the platform.
That's true. So of course it was.
Yeah, you're welcome, people.
All right. Do we want to get into the actual show?
Yeah, we're going to have to. We're only an hour and 10 minutes into it.
Oh, fuck. All right. So some of these are going to be really obvious. Flops. Now, people are going to say, oh, he's not really a flop. He had a good MLS career. Okay, so there are different levels of flopping.
All right, hold on. Let me pull this up here.
There are different levels of flopping. And so
we going graph or we going floppy?
Let's go graph first. So I was trying to explain to Brett by setting up these two. It's like there are different levels of flopping, right? Okay, so there's
before you jump into this, I want to point out that instead of just emailing or sending me the actual graph itself, Derek had to take a photo of it, and you can tell
because I was at work
by all the lines here of taking it with your camera on your phone of a computer screen.
I was at work. I was eating lunch, and I'm like, well, I'll just send him photos because I'm not emailing these to him. I'm supposed to be working. So I just took a photo and sent it to you.
You're supposed to be working, but you got enough time to make it an actual graph.
I didn't make the graph work. All right. This would not be a good graph to make it work. So it starts off with the half erect flop. So that's somebody who, they never turned out for the U.S. men's national team, even though they were highly touted at one point, but they had a good career. And then you got somewhat flaccid flop. That's, again, somebody who, again, didn't play for us for any amount of time or turn out to be anything important, but they still had a decent career. Then you get the shrinkage flippy flop. Now we're talking people who got some issues. Not only did they not play for us after they were highly touted, but then they had a pretty bad career professionally. And then you've got the total turtle massive flop. And that's the guys that were highly touted, never really played for us, and had a shit nothing career in professional soccer. Like that should have been noticeable from day one, but somehow nobody noticed, and he still played on a bunch of youth teams for the fucking U.S. Men's national team youth teams.
Which a number of these players did.
Yes, and then amounted to nothing, not a hill of fucking beans. And it was funny. I was thinking of let me know if you can hear this. I'm going to play this real quick. Hold on.
While you're doing that, Godkong Snake says, I feel like it should be flipped. And I agree that this should be flipped because we as Americans read left to right, Derek.
No, I get it. But still, being half erect is better than being a total turtle.
Yeah,
right?
You start left, the half erect, with the yellow, then orange, then red. And you basically just flip flop them.
I guess I could. You could mirror it if you wanted to, but I mean,
ain't nobody got time for that, Derek.
I mean, what you don't want to be is in the shrinkage in the total turtle zone. So
You mean shrinkage? Yes. Significant shrinkage.
I was in the pool. The water was cold.
So, yeah.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Well, Elaine didn't know.
Nope. It
They asked her.
shrinks.
It shrinks?
Oh yeah.
Well, you put things in water, they shrink. All right, so let's move on. Oh, and before I made this one, I made another one that's totally was horrible. And I sent it to Brett. It's like, yeah, my flop categories. Like, you got saggy, you guys. It was so bad.
This is the perky test.
4 levels.
How
of
perky
flop.
are you?
From perky on the left to kind of heading south, and then way heading south, and then fucking south. So there are 4 levels of flop. You can be a flop, but they're different levels of floppage, is all I'm saying. And this is how I try to get it across to Brett. I'm like, not all of them are the same level of flop, but they're all still flop.
We still gave the flop a kind of a perk here, man. Look at that. A little bit of perk still.
What did they used to call the 4th level, the one on the far right? Isn't that like banana tits?
Maybe. Can't say I've ever heard of that, yeah.
The banana tits. All right. No, I did not make it at work.
In fairness, this probably took him 5 seconds to make it home.
I had it on my phone, not my work phone, my personal phone. And I was trying to figure out a way to send it to Brett. And I ended up just sending it to him by my phone because I couldn't figure out how to send it to him from work without getting in some sort of weird trouble where somebody saw it. So there you go.
Yeah, those are the type of graphics you'll never see it in Soccer We Trust, or it's called Soccer Net. And this is all legit, quality stuff going on here, guys.
Quality artwork.
Quality.
Use paint and everything.
I mean, that's generally how our shit goes, man. You've seen our videos. Yeah.
Let's start with our first flop. Not necessarily in any order.
You tell me when you want me to pull the character up on Wiki, okay?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to need to do that with this one. This is Gail Ekbosamonde. He retired at 27 after being highly touted and playing on just basically every youth team we ever had, even playing for the U.S. team.
He was just a big and dominating force in that center back position on our youth teams. Of course he's going to be there.
And like Brian Arguez, they both had the same fucking agents, and they were both not that very good, but somehow these Brazilian agents would push them all over the world to all these big teams who, as soon as Brian Arguez got there, who's another flop, by the way.
We'll bring him up shortly, yeah.
No, we're bringing it up now.
Oh, you want to bring him up now, huh? Okay, we can talk about it.
Yeah, the same thing would happen to Brian.
Well, okay, there's a bit of a difference here because Brian, in his 12-year career, played for 17 different teams.
Yes.
80 games overall, which equated to 6.7 games per season. Not a great career. Whereas at least Boss played in MLS relatively okayish.
Very small amount of time in MLS.
And then he got shipped off to USL, and then he retired at 27.
Because he knew he wasn't any good. How those agents managed to fool all those people over all those years.
It was a youth highlight reel.
No, there were no highlights. That's the thing. There were no highlights to share. So how did they pull that off?
I can go on the YouTubes now and pull up a Boss highlight.
No, I'm sure you could. But that would be one highlight, and you need many to make a reel of highlights, right? One highlight does not make a player.
Well, I mean, you showed U17s and U20s, and there's plenty of highlights in there, I'm sure.
No, there aren't.
Yeah.
He wasn't even that good as a youth player. Good luck. You find it. You put the reel together.
It was a dominating. I will, and I'll show it to you off air because I don't want this claimed.
No, you want to get embarrassed. All right.
Oh, well, fuck you then. I'll pull it up right now. Go ahead. Continue talking there.
All right. The next one
is this hole you want to sit in.
Jared Jeffrey. He also retired at 27, but I don't think he was a major flop. He had a decent MLS career, so he isn't on the high-level flop range. But I think a lot of people were talking about him, especially when he was in Germany for a while, as being this like really big, going to be the next best thing. Just never really turned out for him. So are you seriously going to go on YouTube and find Ekbosamonde? These people should
you called me out. You called me out. Nope. You said
these
I
people,
be embarrassed.
If they haven't taken these videos down, they should be embarrassed. They really should, by putting up highlight videos of players like Brian Arguez and
you can go through and find it. I'm just saying they're there. And how do you sell a player? By showing a highlight reel. And it's not like either of these players played for any quality side. It's not going to take a lot of selling.
You do not sell a player by sending highlight reels.
You will.
No, scouts come out and watch players. That's how you get hired. That's how you get signed. They watch them play real games, not highlight reels. Dilly Duca. Remember Dilly Duca? Everybody thought he was going to be something.
I forgot that Duca played for Chicago, actually.
Yeah. He turned out to be a middling sort of MLS player.
His wiki page, like, holy shit, he played for Chicago for like 3 or 4 years. I forgot.
Played for Columbus.
Yeah. Then he went to Chicago, then back to Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't he try a trip overseas briefly? I'm not sure
recall.
that. I thought he did, but it was in like some Eastern European country.
Dilly Duca. Pull it up and take a look.
Like Croatia or Hungary or
Serbia. We
Serbia.
got Columbus, Chicago, Montreal, Columbus, New York, Motown. Oh, he did play in Albania.
Albania.
Right at the very end of his career, yes.
Oh my God.
His Motown time was his local like PDL club, or not PDL, NPSL. And he played only in Open Cups, basically.
Right.
But yeah, he finished his career more or less in Albania.
Another one, Mario Rodriguez. I mean, people were high on this guy.
Yeah.
He was in Germany. He was in Germany for a long time, too.
Yeah. Well, he played like 4 to 6 years with Gladbach's 2 team, though.
2 team, yeah. And looked really good, looked promising.
Yeah. Through his youth, though, he was a big, powerful striker. Of course, people are getting hyped like, oh, my God, he's in Germany. He's going to eventually make Gladbach's first team, I imagine, or maybe get loaned out.
Dual Nat, yeah.
Well, that's a big problem. We talked about this, and we're going to talk about this with a number of the players. Well, how did these players possibly get all these youth caps or get caps, and et cetera, et cetera? It's because you're the fear of missing out. What's that called?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, basically, these players could play for multiple teams, and you don't want to miss out on that. So you bring them in. You give them probably a little more time than they deserve.
Well, you bring him in because he's playing for Gladbach in the fucking Bundesliga. It's
Fair.
2 team.
Initially,
2
yes.
team.
And you know what? He still performed at the youth levels.
But yeah, and then all of a sudden, he got cut from his last German team, forgot who it was, and went back to the States, and I think he had like a tryout with Orange County. He might have played for Orange County. I don't know. But that was it. He was done.
Mario Rodriguez, right?
Mario Rodriguez, yeah.
Okay, American soccer. I didn't think you came to the States, but maybe you did. No, he never came to the States.
Okay, well, he did go home, so he does live in the United States. So
he's never played there. He went to Dynamo Dresden, which is in the 3rd division, or it's currently in the 3rd division.
Yeah.
And then he got loaned out to the 4th division a number of years, and hasn't played since like 2018.
Where did he live though? Where's he born?
Oh, where is he born? I'm guessing California. Yeah,
North
Hollywood.
North Hollywood. Yeah. So I heard that at one point he had like a tryout with Orange County FC and didn't make the team. That's pretty crazy. Think about that.
Didn't make the wiki page, but then again, his wiki page is pretty fucking small.
Yeah, I mean, he left Germany, came back. Everyone stopped paying attention long before that.
I'm guessing that was after 2018 because that's where his career ends on wiki.
No, what I'm saying is he came back to the United States, went back to his hometown, tried out for Orange County in the USL, and was cut. Didn't make the team. Never signed. And
let me specify what I literally just said, that was probably after 2018 where his wiki page ends.
Of course it is.
Yes, I don't know why you brought that up then.
Of course it is.
You're making it a point like you're proving me wrong, but I was saying
it sounds like you were doubting my Orange County information.
It probably was. I mean, I'm not saying yes or no. I have no idea what happened after 2018.
I read it somewhere. I didn't just make it up. All right, Lewis Gill. That one's so obvious, and I hate doing it to Lewis because there was no nicer guy on the planet. Facebook friends with him. Like if I ever had a question, I could Facebook him. He would write me back. Even when he went off to Europe, he would still write me back.
So
I feel bad doing this, but
whatever the yellow was, or whatever the softest one was, because he had a decent career. It just was never national team fruition. You know, like he played a real solid. Okay,
I don't know about that, Brett. No.
Luis Gil.
His MLS career was pretty off and on, and a lot off. And then he got cut.
So in 5 years, he had 134 games with Real Salt Lake.
Off the bench.
Still had performance. I mean, whatever. He got paid for 5 years for off the bench. Okay.
And he
most of those years are going to be generation Adidas contracts. So he got paid heavily for those years.
Okay.
Now,
well, he got paid, but he was bad.
That's neither here nor there. But once his career at Real Salt Lake ended, then he went to like Mexico for a number of years and barely played there. Like 10 games here. Got loaned to Orlando City, then to Rapids the same fucking year, then Dynamo, and then all over the place. Yeah,
and barely got to play anywhere there.
So during his generation Adidas is when he really had a successful career, I guess I could say.
Yeah. Oh, by Benji Joya is.
Before we jump on to somebody else, it's unfortunate because he was initially offered a contract to Arsenal. He could have gone abroad.
Yep.
Tried his luck, rolled the dice.
We urged him to go abroad.
Well,
back in 2000 or whatever it was.
It's the Morris effect all over again. I guess you could even go back and say the Donovan effect. That maybe they're just not ready to make the move abroad. They want to stay closer to home. Want to go.
Yeah, even though 100%. He did spend some summer camps there with them, and that's why they made the offer. By the way, somebody mentioned Benji Joya. He's not on this list, I don't think, but he could be. I just never really rated him that high. So
he was though. That was the thing though. He was.
Was he? Was he
pretty
really
highly touted? I thought when he made. I knew when he came to Chicago, he was pretty still highly touted.
Well, he didn't do shit.
But he has a pretty shit career, quite frankly.
Yes. So put him on there if you want to. Berliner Amerikaner says, "Oh, Altidore." Yeah, I'm not calling him a fucking flop. Now, was he not all we hoped he would be?
He'd have been a limp flop.
Probably, but he's not a flop. No, I'd say
he had a solid MLS career, and then he had he was ranked 5th as far as goal scorers for United States national team or something like that.
Yeah,
or 5th or something like that. So he's had a successful career. He probably didn't pan out the way everybody expected it to.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were hoping he'd be hard as a rock, and he came in like 75%. There you go.
Despite the fact he is literally hard as a rock. Guy's like all muscle.
What's this? Mike Pete, according to Mateus. I don't get it, Berlin. I'm lost. He was definitely a bust in Sunderland, but of course, no one passed him the fucking ball. So he didn't really get to play.
He also played at Hull, didn't he? He was a bust there too.
That was before that. Yeah. But you would think with all the minutes that Jozy played at Sunderland and how many times there were corner kicks and set pieces and he was sitting in the box, he could have just accidentally had a goal.
Not only that,
pulled off his Zardis and scored off his cock or something.
If memory serves me correct, there were at least 5 times he drew fouls in the box, drew a PK. Of course, he didn't take it. Somebody else took it for Sunderland. So, I mean, you take those into consideration. He might have had a decent scoring rate if he took his own PKs.
Yeah. Tyler Boyd's too early, Adam. We're not. We'll add him here soon.
I'm fine with throwing him up there, man.
It doesn't look good.
He came in guns blazing for like the first window or two, and then just teetered off.
Well, he certainly teetered off in Turkey too.
Yeah, so I'm fine with adding him on there.
Okay. Emerson Hyndman. Yeah, pretty disappointing. I mean, yes. Not super. He's had a decent MLS career. What's going to happen now? I don't know because he's not on Atlanta. We'll see where it goes from here. But
I was never really high on Hyndman, quite frankly.
Well,
I'm not saying that other people weren't. I mean, there definitely were.
They were.
But I'm saying I personally, I never was. You could see the talent there, but something was missing, and maybe it was stature. The guy's like a beanpole, man. He is a beanpole and just gets tossed around. Early interest in Newcastle, they didn't sign him, but he ended up going to Fulham. Played for Bournemouth for a bit, and then
Rangers.
ATL. Well, yeah, loaned out to Rangers and loaned out to somebody else in SPL as well. I'm not going to dig up his wiki though.
No, I don't think so. I thought it was just Rangers.
Oh my goodness, you're doing this to me again.
I'm sorry. You should make a declarative statement because I don't remember.
There's also loaned out to Hibs.
Oh, Iberian? Yeah. How'd he do? I don't remember.
15 appearances, 1 goal.
Oh, that must have been the year before Rangers then, right?
After.
Really? He went back
2018.
to the Scottish Premier League and played for a shittier team than
Yep.
Rangers.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then he got loaned out to Atlanta, and then Atlanta signed him.
The weird part is I was tracking all this, right? And I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any of this. I was tracking all of it. Okay, there's certain things I must have blocked out. Rubin, I never really rated him. So
There are people in the chat that do, and still do.
Yeah, well, we won't mention their names. Tommy Thompson. Remember when Tommy Thompson was the fucking jizz?
No.
Not for me, he wasn't. Not for
No,
you.
I don't. I mean, yeah, I love the fact that he was an IU boy, but outside that,
Man, he was like, oh, he's going to be the next greatest back for the U.S. This kid's got talent. It was like, I didn't see that. That's weird.
so here's an interesting one. Is Eddie Johnson a flop? There's a different Eddie that I want to bring up here, but let's see where you.
I mean, he played so many times for the USMNT national team. It's hard to call him a complete flop. And he had a decent MLS career. So I wouldn't put him in the flop. I put him just outside of flop. I put him into like mildly erect.
I would.
Or something.
So when I hear Eddie, the one flop that comes to mind, and there's a couple of guys in this category in this same time frame, was Eddie Gavin.
Yeah, but that's older. That's
fair enough. Yes, 100%. That's why I didn't want to bring him up. Him, like the Justin Maps of the world.
Yeah,
these are all slightly older than the 2010 range that we're talking about, but
right on.
But still equally disappointing.
Yes,
you see them in the youth levels just flat out killing it, and then all of a sudden,
yep. We got some other names coming up there. Jay Demerit, nah, he's not a flop. I don't think so. Perry Kitchen.
Whoa, Jay Demerit that's a wonderful story. What are you talking about, Berlin?
Motherfucker got a movie.
Yeah, he went from like the Sunday League 9th tier England to playing in the Premier League and then making the World Cup on his like last cycle possible. That's a Cinderella story if I've ever heard of it, man.
Yeah, I can't put a Cinderella story in the flop category. Perry Kitchen, kind of. He had a really solid MLS career though. So
not a great SPL career.
No, he did not. But I guess I never really heard people say Perry Kitchen was going to be the bomb. I don't know. I thought everybody's like, yeah, he's a pretty good MLS player. He might be a good backup. I never heard like he's going to be a star. Maybe somebody said it. I just missed it.
He reminded me a lot of like the yules and the traps that we're experiencing relatively recently, like in the last cycle. Just
those guys.
You saw it and you're like, okay, he's okay in MLS, but when it comes to the national team, you're like.
But did anybody ever think yYOU and Trap were going to be stars?
Berlin.
Were they?
Berhalter did.
Were they ever really highly touted by anybody but Berhalter? No, they weren't. So I can't put him in the flop category because I never rated him in the first place. See how this is all twisted and weird, folks? So, but you know, it's subjective. For what it's worth, David Ochoa got sent down to San Luis's U21s, and if he doesn't look out, he's not going to have a team at all because his behavior apparently is unacceptable. So,
well, we saw that in MLS, and quite frankly, I was perfectly fine with it in MLS. You know, taunting the supporters of the other team and punting the ball up in there and all that. I was perfectly fine with that.
By the way, a lot of people. Oh, sorry. Were you done?
I am now.
Zelalem and Bella, we've already put them in a prior video called, what did we call that video, Brett? Just write them off or their busts, send them off?
Something like that, yeah. It was about a month ago.
So, yeah, I'm not going to put him on. Zelalem's on this list.
Okay, you added him to the list, so.
Yeah, I did. So he's on both lists. Bello, I just wrote him off so long ago that he's not even on this list as a bust. But maybe he could be. He could be. Yeah.
Okay. Berlin was joking about Demerit. I was going to say that had to have been a joke.
Yeah,
I didn't fully suspect that you were saying that he was it, but I'm like, that's like the Cinderella story. That's what movies are made from. Like, you know, like Miracle on whatever, the Miracle on Ice or whatever the fuck the movie's called. The 1980s hockey story.
Lake Placid, the Miracle on Ice.
Miracle on Ice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that type of thing. You know, that's why I look at Demerit.
You weren't born yet. I
No, it
watched
wasn't.
it.
You're right.
I watched it live. I was 8 years old. It was truly a miracle.
Good
All right.
for you.
All right, next guy, Maki Tall. I
Oof.
mean, whoever thought this guy was so good? He played for the Ivory Coast youth. He played for the French youth. He played for the U.S. youth. And you know where he
Not in
plays
that
now?
order, though. Not in that order.
You know where he plays now, Brad? The third division of Belgium.
Oof.
Dude, that dude's career sunk faster than a goddamn.
So, this is what I was referring to earlier. It's a young player that is playing at a club, not playing for the club by any means, but he's training, developing as a youth and everything at a club in League, and he's a try-nat. So of course people are going to hype him up like, we need to get him. He's in the French league, you know.
Yeah.
So they're stoked about getting him, but you know he played for the French youth. And then he played for the Ivory Coast youth.
And then
he played for the United States youth.
And then we were like, well, can we give him a try?
Maybe he's not good enough for the Ivory Coast, but he's going to be good enough for us.
I mean, once he was sent down to the third division in French league on loan, I'm like, okay, this guy's done. This is over. Because now he's 20, and now he's so far down there. Fun fact, Derek was also alive during the Civil War. I was not. Unless you want to call my divorce a Civil War, in which case...
Fair enough.
I was alive for that. All right.
It was a much more recent Civil War.
Yes, it was. And it was actually not much of a war. It was peaceful. Very peaceful ending. DeSevio Payne. Yeah, Mr. Injury himself.
I had to look this one up, man.
Groningen.
I mean, I remember the name
at one point. Yeah.
I might have been mixing him up with a different Payne, but I was like, the name sounds familiar, but I do not
Major
remember.
Payne. You remember that movie?
Of course, that's a great movie. Opens up as a can of juice. You know.
By the way, tonight I'm about to partake in a Golden Monkey by Victory.
Nice.
Great brewing company.
Local.
What's that?
The local.
Is it local Bloomington? I mean, Indiana? Is it?
I think it's Indianapolis, yeah. Now I'm second guessing myself.
They make great beer. I can look on the bottle, right?
You could.
Nope. Downington, Pennsylvania.
God damn it. I must be thinking of somebody else then.
It's close to Bloomington. Downington, Bloomington. You could get those mixed up.
I never was guessing Bloomington. I guessed Indianapolis.
Jonathan Rupert says he used to live on a Civil War battlefield. It was part of the defensive ring around Richmond at the end of the war. Well, at least you lived on it after they cleaned the battlefield up. Because if you lived on it after the battle happened, that would be pretty gross. A lot of dead people. All right. Gideon Zalalem. We can skip over this. We all know why he doesn't play. He's injured all the time.
2 knees, yeah.
And he's never been able to recover from both of those knee injuries. Jonathan, I had to put this one in here, dude. You know I did. I don't
know if anybody really hyped Klinsmann up, man.
I had to put him on there anyhow. Jonathan Klinsmann, fuck you.
I don't know. I mean, especially that's the thing. Because he was playing for like the U17s or U20s at the time whenever Donovan got left off the 2014.
Yes.
And
that's what I'm saying fuck him for.
Yeah, people lost. Like, they lost at that point. Like, because they're like, oh, Klinsmann's son's playing for the United States team. That's awesome. And then he did that, and they're like, yeah, fuck
what
that
a
guy.
dick.
Fuck that guy. Yeah, so I don't know if he necessarily got any hype after that.
Well, he went to Europe after that. Remember?
Yeah, he went to Hoffenheim.
No, man.
Hertha Berlin.
Yeah, there it was. Yeah.
It was one of the H's.
And all the players were saying, because he would practice with them, they're like, hey, dude, you're not a really good goalkeeper, but you could probably be a good outfield player. They're like, you should take up striker like your dad, because you ain't going to be a goalkeeper. All right, not here, you're not.
Is he still with LA? Or did he get shipped off?
Yeah, no, he's still there.
Is he playing at all?
On occasion. I just wanted to stick it in his eye for what he did to Landon. That's all, mostly. Justin Glad. I'm so glad this discussion about Justin Glad is over. Because you and I have been saying for how many years? Nah.
Dude, that's the thing. If you were second guessing Boss, we can definitely second guess Glad.
Dude, I mean, even in the youth games, he was clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Had a good MLS career, though. Emmanuel Sabi. We already told you why.
Yeah.
Did you just watch the recent friendly? If you did, then now you can get on board with us. Emmanuel Sabi.
Hey, the problem is, Derek, this was his first camp, and you need 3 of them in order to understand the system. So 2 more, and he'll be golden.
Nope, not Hudson system.
All
right.
It's a Berhalter system, but you sit back just a little bit further.
Kinda, yeah. But you can still look incompetent in it really quickly.
Very quickly.
And Sebastian Saucedo, the one-trick pony.
The one-trick pony, as Derek dubs him. And
Yep.
Derek's not wrong.
Nope, he is a one-trick pony, and everybody figured out what that trick was.
Wasn't great in the Olympic qualifiers, so he failed to qualify for last time,
and
has not succeeded since.
Yep, played a while there in Mexico. I don't know if he's still playing on this new team there, but I haven't looked for a while because I just don't. I gave up on him. So Chris Gloucester. Well, I don't think I need to say much more about Chris Gloucester. He's obviously he's a bust. He's a total flop. Huh?
Where's he at?
Oh, I thought he was loaned out to USL team, I believe, but he didn't get to play for the big boy team in New York. So I'm trying to remember where he was loaned to. You can look it up.
Yeah, we got it pulled up here. He was just recently loaned out to Sacramento.
Yep.
Had 2 games there, and then he came back to New York in 2022. Played 5 games on their 2 team.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Jonathan.
Yeah, he was a PSV. That's why the name really sticks out for me. Well, he was.
Oh yeah,
second.
Yeah.
He was their second team.
Right. He barely got to play there.
Okay, so hold on. There's a bunch of people pulling up names here. Let's pull up a couple from the chat.
No, Jordan Morris is not a flop. He's not great U.S. men's national team, but it really not going forward. He's not.
Would his career have been different if instead of spurning Bremen, he went there?
Could have been. Because
I mean, it's possible that maybe he would have flamed out still there, but at least then he would have been up to the European level as far as pace, the speed of thought, speed of mind. It's
all conjecture. Would I be a different man if when I was 13, my middle school teacher, I would have let her fuck me? Could have been a totally different me. I don't know, but it's impossible to say.
Yeah, you would have gotten her pregnant. You would have had a kid at the age of whatever.
She would have been arrested. All kinds of weird shit would have happened.
You would have been a single dad with the baby. Yeah,
could have been traumatic. All right, Chris Mueller. I don't think anybody really ever thought Chris Mueller was that good.
Man, that one the Camp Cupcake that he was and had a really good Camp Cupcake.
He did.
I was sitting there, and then he had that season with Orlando, and I was sitting there going like, man, really? This kid might be decent. And then he went to SPL over in Scottish and did an amount of shit there. And then he's at Chicago, and he's got a game here and there.
Did your synonym for him ever get bigger than the word decent?
No.
Not exactly. Really. If it never got above the word decent, I don't remember anybody else saying, oh boy, he's going to be a decent player. Okay, that's about where I put it. He's going to be decent. Jonathan Lewis, we all thought he'd be shit.
But he was going to Arsenal, Derek.
No, never. It's such a joke. It was such a joke at the time. It's a joke now.
That came out, we're like, no.
It's such bullshit. No. You got to be ashamed of yourself posting rumors that Jonathan Lewis is going to Arsenal. You got to be ashamed of yourself if you did that, how many years ago that was now. Green is a bust too. Yeah, he's on the list, so we'll mark him off so we don't even bother talking about him. Julian Green, yeah, he's a bust.
He's a bust on our other show too.
Yeah, he was. He was on that. He was on the bust list too. Yep. Robbie Rogers might be right on the edge of that 2010 marker, but come on, he went to England. I think he got loaned out to Stevenage. He didn't get to play there. By the way, former Leeds player. Another American to play for Leeds, or I mean, if you want to call it playing a few handful of games, but not remembered fondly there.
There was another player up that we've already covered that also got loaned at Leeds at one point, but I forgot who it was. And I don't have the the drive.
We've had a lot of players that have played at Leeds, actually.
But yeah, sorry, Rogers. Rogers kind of fits in that limp category in the sense that he had a decent MLS career, and he got called up to the national team a couple times. But
yeah, a little limp. All right, need some Viagra. He's an LA Galaxy legend. Yeah, he played pretty well for LA Galaxy, but he was another one of those one-trick ponies. And once they figured that out, it was all downhill from there for him in the bigger leagues overseas. God damn it! I wish I had a list at one point of all of the Americans that played for Leeds.
Well, Derek, do you want to bring up the next person because he might threaten to beat you up again?
Danny Settler. I wish I would have kept that email or whatever it was that he sent me. He's like, I'm going to find out where you live, dude. And when I do, I'm going to come and kick your ass. I'm like, okay. Come and
you got a lot of time on your hand to do that, yeah.
It's like, sorry, dude. I mean,
you should have given him a fake address. I live at, and then post something like in Arizona just to see if he'd fly out there.
You don't want me to report that you and your stupid fucking drunk brothers got in a brawl in a bar and all got arrested? Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to report it. If you want to get offended by me reporting it, then that's on you, not me. But yeah, guy that was super highly touted. Settler was like,
dude, that World Cup was it was U20 World Cup, right?
Yeah,
it was U20. Yeah, 100%. He even got shipped off to Italy for a season or two. And didn't play, but
right.
But yeah,
and then,
definitely, yeah, 100%. People were like, "Oh, he's gonna be awesome," and then
give him credit for making a comeback from all those injuries and playing for the Cosmos for those years. But that ain't
that's true. I forgot about the injuries. Yeah,
that ain't fucking AC Milan. That ain't Chelsea. That's not Juventus. So he didn't amount to a hill of beans.
That's a pretty fucking common theme for a lot of our busts here.
Juan Agudelo is going to be mentioned for sure. Yeah, he's on the list. Let's just cover him now.
Might as well.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of what do you call that? Stacking up the logs, getting all the foliage together, lighting the fucking match, and you put it down, and then one leaf burns, and then the rest of it just goes out. Like it goes out. You never get to start the campfire, right? That's what Agudelo was.
Season or two with Red Bulls. And it just never really capitalized on that. And it was another one of those dual nats that he could have played for Colombia.
No, he couldn't.
Well, no, he couldn't. But I'm saying he could have.
He could have, but he's not good enough.
Yeah. Technically speaking, he could have.
He was the guy that should have been a campfire that turned out to be a small tissue burning in the corner of a fucking homeless person's house. All right, a homeless person's house? What? A homeless person in an abandoned house. My bad.
They're just talking about the cardboard box. We brought up Bobby Wood earlier in the sense that he doesn't quite fit the 2010 narrative.
No, he's not a bust.
I mean, he's still playing,
not a flop.
But he started earlier than that, really.
I mean, he certainly was a flop in the Bundesliga. There's no doubt about that. But has he been a flop for the USMNT national team? Not really. When he played, he had his moments.
I was actually a big fan of Bobby Wood.
Well, if you really had high expectations for Bobby Wood, then yes, he's a flop. How's that? If you were like, this guy's going to be the next bee's knees, if you thought I didn't think he was going to be that great. I thought he'd be really good.
On the national team, he added just as much as Jozy did. Now, Jozy got more opportunities and scored more goals in the end, but I thought he added just as much as Jozy did on the national team.
Wilmer, Freddie, the vacuum cleaner, Adu is a given. I think
he's on the list too, though. So
we just started the show and said he's going to be on it. So. But there's nothing, we can't talk about that anymore. We did a whole show about Freddie Adu and why he failed. We can't do anymore. Like, I'm so done talking about poor Freddie Adu. I feel bad for the guy at this point. Let's see. Breck Shea. Yes, he's a flop. I'm sorry.
Wait a second. Are you telling me that the guy on our thumbnail is a flop?
Yeah, I'd rather look at the other thumbnail.
I do that. I'm like, this couldn't be any more perfect. I swear. Yeah, I'm
it's like, funny.
Wait, is Breck Shea there? Where's he at?
It's so funny. That's the first thumbnail I looked at. I'm like, that's not Breck Shea, but ooh, it's nice. And then yeah.
Oh, there he is over there.
You know, I was a little worried about that that thumbnail, but it works out. It works out. It's like it's a little freaky. It's a little freaky. Cactus going to be pissed. Yes, outwardly, but inside he'll be warm and fuzzy. He really will be, because he knows it's true. Ian Harkes, you cannot call a flop. Nobody really thought that much of Ian Harkes. They thought he'd be a good MLS player. And then he went to Scotland, and he's been a decent player in the SPL for Dundee United. And that's about where we thought about what he would be. I did. I don't know.
Wolf. Never mind. I was going to say, I thought there was another Harkes kid at the U20s, but that was Wolf.
No, there's Wolf? 2 Wolf brothers. Yeah. Yeah. They're on the ends. Preston Zimmerman, one of the most arrogant guys that never turned out. I remember when he'd get called up, he'd go to the press and tell, everybody how stupid the U.S. soccer was. And I'd be like,
that's how you get another call up.
Yeah.
We learned that out from the Bill Hamid route, too. Yeah. I'm better than all the other goalkeepers up here. Well, you're never going to get called up again, buddy. Sorry.
You just don't say out loud.
Just leave it alone.
Unless you're Zlatan. You can say it out loud if you're Zlatan. I'm playing with a bunch of Pintos, and I'm a Ferrari. Sal's Paxton Paul McCall was already on the bus list.
The earlier bus list, yes.
So I didn't put him on this because I felt it would be double pounding. But Matt Doyle still can't talking about Paxton Paul McCall. That's because he's his boyfriend. So you guys got to know about the relationships that Paxton Paul McCall has with Matt Doyle. They have a very close sort of boy-man relationship thing going on there. Matt, I apologize if you ever see this. But I don't see any other reason that Matt Doyle would continue to fucking proselytize and pontificate about the fucking wonderful traits that Paxton Paul McCall has. I'm sorry, those injuries took a toll, buddy. Look at the way he plays now compared to where he used to play. Like, he used to be quick.
Look at the Camp Cupcake or Camp Strudel or whatever the fuck we called it.
Camp, something. I don't
Camp
know.
Oatmeal Cookie or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, he played the first match. He didn't play. I don't think he played the second match. But the first match was just sort of like, wait, was Paxton even there? He got subbed off at halftime.
Dude, he was
slow.
What
did he do? He was incredibly slow.
I mean, people were burning by him with the ball, and they were jogging, and he was running as hard as he could. Listen, I'm not making fun of Paxton Paul McCall's injuries. They're horrendous. But people who pretend that this guy still has a chance, unless there's some magical surgery that can return his legs back to the way they were before all those fucking injuries in a row, I'm sorry, he's just done. He's cooked. His goose is cooked. He's finished as a major contributor to the United States men's national team. If he proves me wrong, I will personally eat crow. Fuck, I'll go out and suck his cock if that's what he wants. I'm just saying, I don't plan to have to do that because I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be a serviceable MLS player for the rest of the whatever 8 years he plays in MLS. And then he'll be really done because then he'll be old and have fucked up legs. And then that shit's totally over.
Before we come back to Chris in just a sec. But Johnny Arnold says, Paul McCall will be better than Moose and McKinney. Mark my words.
I'll mark them. And what if it doesn't happen? Are you willing to go out and give him fellatio as well? All right. Sal Zizzo.
Hold on. Chris Gary says legit.
No, he's not. He's not a flop. Not a flop.
So yeah,
he's not a flop.
He's not a flop. No, I mean even with his 2 bum knees, he still managed to score a couple of goals leading into Nations League last cycle. And still set some goals up with the national team. Now, mind you, Greg definitely gave him the lift through that cycle.
That looked like you were cupping his balls or something. Okay.
Anyways. The disappointment occurs probably just like with Morris, just like with a number of players, probably due to the injuries.
Yep.
So he was on a trajectory. Now, of course, you probably looked, if you followed him from the youth, where was he at? He was at Newcastle?
West Ham.
West Ham, thank you, yes. He was at West Ham. And there was a lot of hype about him, and then he didn't pan out. Then he came back to MLS. And
okay, be fair to him. He had a lot of hype, the only reason he get to play is because Sam fucking Allardyce was the
Sure.
manager.
100%.
And he was a fucking dumb fuck. And so he didn't get to play at all because Sam doesn't like to play young players, number one. And he should have got to play. And he didn't, because back then he was. And when he came to MLS, he was spectacular when he came to MLS. He was an outstanding standout star for LA. So
then he fucked up both knees, and it happens.
Right.
You're not quite the same person after that horrendous injury from, what was it, 2018?
Yeah. Gooch, I'm not labeling Gooch a bust. He had a great European career. So.
That's an interesting one to bring up too, because a lot of people were especially hyping up Gooch when he played for the national team
in AC Milan when he went there.
Oh no, okay, so I'm thinking Lyndon Gooch, not on Gooch and yYOU.
I don't know which Gooch he's talking about.
I don't think he's talking about Gooch as in like Gooch, because Gooch had a hell of a national career and he played throughout Europe. I think he's Berlin. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're talking about Lyndon.
It doesn't matter. Neither of them are flops.
No, I mean,
neither of them are.
I mean, it sucks that Lyndon went all the way down to League One, but he's back. He's back up in the championship, and he stands a chance of possibly being promoted.
But he's injured.
He is injured.
Sucks. He started before the injury. He's still injured, and since the injury, it's been like 2 months since he's played. But I wouldn't count him out yet. Freddie Adu, we've already talked about in his vacuums. Jack McInerney. Man, remember when he was scoring like crazy and everybody was just fucking jizz was hitting the wall left and right for Jack McInerney? I mean, it's a fucking bukkake. A McInerney fucking bukkake was happening.
Hey, I was high on the kid there, man, too. I thought he was going to amount to something big.
Did you?
Yeah, he was doing well, and I liked his play.
You jumped on that one. Okay.
I did.
All right. Hey, I don't blame you. Things were looking really amazing there for a while.
Berlin was talking about Lyndon.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up on Lyndon yet. I mean, he's not
going to be a national team player by any means. He might get a couple call-ups here and there, but I don't think he's going to be a contender. But
at least the last 4 years of his career, people have sort of like not talked about him at all. So there's like no hype on Lyndon Gooch at all at this point.
Berlin, we already talked about Ruben.
Yep. Alvarado, Ventura Alvarado. That's somebody Klinsmann brought in, playing in Liga MXs. And then he came to Miami on a loan a couple seasons ago, I think it was. Never played. No, that guy's
he showed promise early on, and then it just fizzled out.
Yeah, same thing for Yarbrough.
The same way, yeah.
Yep, that was a fizzle out. But everybody's really excited that these Liga MXy dual nats were coming over to play for us, and then they amounted to nothing. Same thing with Greg Garza, another dual nat, and that was mostly injury for him.
I remember Jose Torres' national team career, but how was his club career?
It's all right.
Okay.
I didn't think he was that bad as a national team player, though. I didn't think when he got the opportunities and played some Gold Cups, I thought he was fine.
I thought he was just as adequate as having Ricardo Clark or yYOU out there.
Yeah.
Bradley. There's no difference, really. I mean, he's just a different type of player, but but no, I thought he was a serviceable partner with Bradley.
We couldn't figure out exactly how to use him because he's a CAM.
Well, I mean that's the big problem with a lot of our Mexican American players, in the sense that we bring them in and then all of a sudden they stand out in the Mexican Federation as being American, and then when they come here they stand out being more Mexican as far as the stylistic, and it didn't mesh so well with our European style earlier on. Now it's getting different. It's different now. I'm just saying. Back in the day when Orozco's different because he's a center back, so that's different, I guess.
I mean, you can't really call Orozco a flop either because he played enough games for us. He contributed, whether you like how he contributed. That's a whole nother story, but he did contribute, and so did Torres in a limited way. So I can't call him a flop. He had an okay career. Y'all remember people were going crazy about Dom Dwyer leading? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I call him a flop because I never fucking rated him. I never rated
who's
Don
the?
Dwyer.
I'm spacing his name right now, but who was the Canadian striker that made the one-time switch that then barely played for the United States?
Well, he played on Philly for a while.
I know he played at New England. I think he played in New England.
I wouldn't call him.
Dwyer.
I wouldn't call him a flop either because
Anybody got his name? Because I can't recall.
He's a Philly kid, and then he was a dual nat, and then we called him up, and he played for us, and everybody's like, "Yeah,
Bunbury."
Todd Bunbury, yeah. Never. I never rated him.
No.
I don't remember people screaming over their lungs about him. Homer Gonzalez is definitely not a flop. He contributed way too much to the U.S. men's national team,
especially own goals.
Well, that's how it ended. It ended on a sour note for sure, but not a flop.
That was a name I barely remember.
Tesho Akinlele? I don't think anybody ever talked about that guy. So, I mean, maybe
you
they did
like
in Dallas territory, but nah. Did we mention Eddie Johnson? We did. And we said not a flop. I mean, not great. He didn't really contribute that much, but he contributed enough that I wouldn't call him a flop, like a complete flop. Like, I remember when Eddie was scoring all the goals in the MLS, and then when he went to Fulham, I thought, yeah, he's going to struggle at Fulham. I thought it right away because I saw how much effort Dempsey had to put in to start regularly, and I didn't know if Eddie was going to get the same chances that Dempsey did, and I didn't think Eddie had the same chip on his shoulder that Dempsey had. So there you go. Indiana Jones Vasilek. Well, he's playing in the MLS now. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever going to play for the U.S. men's national team. So if you want to give him a mini flop, a mini bust, yeah.
I don't know how many people really overhyped him either, quite frankly.
By the way, that's a horrible spelling of his name. Vasilek. It's Vasilev.
Well, don't get me wrong. I probably would have butchered it too, so we're in the same boat.
It could be fat thumbs. I often do that Fabian Johnson, no way is he a flop. Here's some other ones. Timothy Tillman. Should we already add him to the flop?
He's on his way to
LAFC?
Yeah, FC,
yeah. I mean, I think he's going to have an okay MLS career.
He's like 22,
23. Yeah, somewhere around there. He's no Malik.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know people blew his ass up and said, we got to go get the Tillman brothers. They should have said, we got to go get Malik Tillman, because I don't think there were a lot of people thinking that his older brother Timothy was going to, like, not in Germany, people weren't blowing him up, but here in the States, we were blowing up both the Tillman brothers.
Berlin, you bounced way past 2010 with this one.
God, yes, you have.
Dima? Fuck, dude.
Dima.
That's a name. That's a name to bring back up, man.
They don't rate Busio. No, we do not. I, in particular, have been pretty auditory about my displeasure with the fact that people think that Busio is going to amount to anything that more than what he is now, which is a bench player in a Serie B team. That's what he is. That's how good he is. Tessman, on the other hand, is now becoming a leader on that team. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I've already declared, and I already said I would eat crow if Busio proved me wrong. I declared Busio a bust. Done. Cooked. Finished. This is as good as he's going to get, and guess what? It's not even good enough to be a regular starter on a Serie B team. There you go. And Serie B? I mean, Serie B? You think Serie A's dropped off. How about Serie B? That's a fuckfest of colossal measures. And let's see. Ben Lederman. Somebody was saying Ben Lederman to me earlier today.
Why are we bringing up Polish players in our chat?
Yeah. He's not even an American player. He's already committed to the Polish team.
It's the same reason why we brought David Ochoa, but I mean, still, why are we talking about Mexican players?
Yeah. Jerome Kizaveta came to the United States as a loan to Inter Miami. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time. Actually, before that, he went to USL team and did really well. He was like one of the leading scorers in USL. So Inter got him. He was one of Klinsman's projects early on, but he's really not really turned out to be much. And I know people were really high on him back in the day, but yeah, didn't work out. And then I don't even think Josh Gad belongs in this because it's just purely injury only.
It's so unfortunate. The kid had a very promising career.
Yep, that's all injury.
Nothing incredibly not like super talent or anything like that, but it's just like fucking speed out the wazoo, and you know what? That's dangerous in its own right.
Speed kills, man, especially out wide, and he was a killer out there. In fact, at one point they had clocked Josh Gad, and he would have been qualified for the Olympics. Mm-hmm. That's how fast he was. Like his times in the 50 qualified him for the Olympics. That's how fucking fast he was. So at least that's what was coming out of Scandinavia at the time.
S27, I wanted to bring this one up because he doesn't fit our criteria for the 2010s and on.
What's that?
Santino.
Yeah, too old.
Way too old.
Yep.
I mean, way too old. He's like a year younger than me, but what an old fuck.
But yeah, sure. He never amounted to what the people said he was going to amount to. Mm-hmm. Jovan Karofsky, yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Well, Mix, there's a great one. But that's going to be beyond 2010. But
I had him on the list, and then I looked at how many games Mix played for us. A lot.
Yeah, but he didn't amount to what we were expecting. Everybody hyped him up more. Maybe it was the fabulous hair. Maybe that was it.
No. We watched him enough to know he could be a contributor, but he played for us for 6 years. It's not like he didn't contribute.
Definitely wasn't a flop of a career. I agree. I don't think he panned out the way everybody was expecting it.
Had a flop of an MLS career, that's for sure.
Yeah, we talked about Boyd.
Yeah, I think Boyd stays awake at night going, I wish I would have stayed with New Zealand.
Guaranteed chance at the World Cup.
Oh my God. I made such a horrible decision. Why
we
do
talked
people
about
hate?
Bobby Wood as well.
Already did him.
Berlin, you keep going past that 2010. Chris Albright.
Berlin, get back in the time machine and go forward. Stop going backwards.
Too far back, my man. Too far.
And by the way, Chris Albright, a lot of injuries there. Keep that in mind, because when he was in England and did play before he was injured, he performed. He wasn't bad in the championship, wherever Nottingham Forest was at the time. I didn't think
minimum
he was that
championship. Minimum. Who knows? I don't recall who was in the championship last year.
I like how you're like minimum, but wait a minute, I really don't know that.
Well, I'll come out and flat out say they definitely weren't. They definitely weren't in the Premier League. No fucking way.
No, they weren't.
Yeah,
they were League One championship for a while, League One for a while.
It was an educated guess,
which is really sad for a storied team like Nottingham Forest.
Well, I mean we're about on the cusp of Barcelona getting relegated because of the shit that's going down there.
How about Juventus?
Juventus too. We're
going
to see a lot of storied teams go down. But the difference is Juventus has been in Serie B recently.
I know.
And they managed to get out of it.
And they didn't learn their fucking lesson, did they?
Yeah, their thought process is, well, we went to Serie B and we had like a 21 point, like we started the season off at negative 21 points. And we still promoted, We can do it again. Fuck it. Let's take our chance.
I guess. Oh.
The rules are meant to be bent, not broken.
Here's the news on my phone that just popped up. Man poses as gynecologist to get nudes in Singapore. This is from Singapore.
Yeah, it didn't work for me there, so I'm going to try it here next.
Man poses as gynecologist to get nudes? What kind of headline is that? To get nudes or to see pussy? Really close up. I don't really understand this headline. To get nudes, so he would have them undressed and he'd take photos of them nude. That's what got him off, not the close-ups of the vaginas. Yeah, that sounds like weird shit, because one thing I would never want to be is a gynecologist. I am sorry. Have you gone to Walmart lately? Have you seen the chicks at Walmart? Because guess what?
You don't get to pick and choose.
You don't. You don't get to pick and choose. You got to look at all the gross ones too. The ones with like
you go home and your wife's like flirting. You're just like, it's a long day at work, sweetie. I'm sorry, I can't deal with this.
Jesus Christ, that is one imposter thing I would not do. Andrew Johnson says you guys hit Lyndon Gooch. Yes, we already did. So rewind after the show is over.
Shortcut. Didn't think he was a flop.
He's not a flop yet. He's not a flop yet.
Well,
Remember,
it's questionable how much hype was really given to him too. I don't recall, but
no, there's been no hype given to him for at least 4 years.
yeah.
So no. Bedoya didn't do enough. Yeah, but he's not a flop, dude. It's not a
He
flop.
went to the World Cup and played, man. I mean, yeah, it can't be a flop.
And he's still a baller in fucking MLS. He's a baller. I'm sorry, he is. He's a tough motherfucker.
I mean, anybody looking at Bedoya who thought too much, he was a workhorse. Is his big thing, and he did a lot of fucking dirty work, and that's where that's what's got him to where he is now. And anybody who thought more of him than that was kidding themselves. But that worked. I mean, it worked, and he had a successful national team career based off of that.
Yep. Michael Bradley.
Come
on. He's Sean.
Clearly joking.
He must be. Nick Tatagua.
Who Holden?
Tatagua. Nick Tatagua. Yeah, due to injuries, I never rated him anyhow. So, I mean, I was hoping, but that didn't work out. Stu. That was before 2010, wasn't it? When did he get injured?
Oh, that's a great question.
But he did contribute enough to not be a flop. Now,
well, I mean, he had two career-ending injuries.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't think there's any flopping involved here.
Potentially 3 career-ending. Remember, he got the fuck beat out of him outside of a bar in Sunderland.
Oh, fair enough.
And he almost lost his eye. Yeah, they almost had to take his eye out.
2000 all the way through 2014, but he did definitely start before 2010, so probably doesn't classify here.
I can only imagine he was sniping off there in the bar, and some motherfucker just beat the shit out of him.
Fucking Yank!
I don't think. Well, he's not really a Yank. Remember? I mean, he is. He's Scottish American. I thought he was born in Scotland. Actually, he moved to the United States.
Has no Scottish accent whatsoever.
He doesn't.
He's talking pure American at that bar, man.
He got rid of it. That's okay. Let's see. Bedoya
it's not okay. It's good for you. Good for you for getting rid of that accent.
I don't know. I kind of like the Scottish accent compared to sort of other accents like the Aussie accent. No offense to anybody from Australia.
It really depends on the person.
Well, and it depends on the region in Australia. I mean, it depends on the region in Australia too, because they are different. There are different accents in Australia too. Some of them are fucking annoying as hell, and some of them are like, oh, that sounds fun. So it's kind of different. All right, let's end this fucker out. Let's do it. No, Matt Miazga is not yet a flop yet. And even if he was over now, he contributed enough.
Well, and I feel like a lot of that potential flopness is on Berhalter.
Well, in Chelsea.
Yeah, 100% Chelsea, yes.
And
95% Chelsea.
Let's not forget that when Matt was loaned out, pretty much everywhere he went except for France and one other team, he did a great job.
Championship. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, he did a great job besides France. Okay, never mind. Sorry, scratch that.
No, he did really well with QPR, Reading. He did VVV, VV Venlo. I mean, he had some good.
He did well in La Liga, but then he just got shit canned whenever everybody got healthy.
Yeah, he did at the beginning of the season. He got.
Well, then that's all that mattered because at that point he never played again because reasons.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We already did Andrew Carlton, Bofo, Ligma, whatever your name is. We already did that one, my brother. So some of you are going to have to rewind and go back once the show is over. Anderlecht. BMR, Anderlecht, for whom in particular?
Miazga go there? We're talking about Miazga.
He played for... No, he never played for Anderlecht. Not that I remember. Vitesse, he played for. Never played for Anderlecht.
Yeah, look at that. Right there. 30 games.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I missed that somehow. Alaves, he played 11. Reading. Yeah, Nance really fucked him. I remember that. And Vitesse, 55 games. You know, when he was at Vitesse, I really thought, that was going to maybe give him a shot going forward at a bigger team. But it didn't. I still think He did well with FC Cincinnati last season when he was healthy. I thought he was better as a center back in MLS last season than both.
Is it weird that I forgot that Matt Miazga even played for the Red Bulls?
I think that is weird. Yes.
I didn't put two and two together with that, quite frankly.
I thought as in MLS he played better than Zimmerman last season.
Oh, for Cincy, yeah.
And
definitely played better than Long.
Long. He played better than Long for sure. Long had a shitty season last season. All right. Well, we'll see if he gets it back. We all know, we've talked about the disputes between Berhalter and Miazga and how Miazga's now come out in the open and said they didn't get along. Well, yeah.
Farrell's got it. It was all downhill after kicking that puppy.
I guess so. I really do. All right. I think we're done. Unless we got more.
I've got the tweets pull up here, Derek.
Holy fuck.
Well, you kept going on. You kept throwing out randos that nobody's ever heard of. We're going to talk about those people.
Randos?
Yeah.
I'm not.
I feel like the bulk of our listeners are probably too young to remember 90% of the players that we talked about today.
Sure. Marsch made a mistake not signing with Southampton. Could have made a career as a relegation specialist with zero downside. He's not getting any other EPL gig. No, he's not. This was a bad decision for Jesse to demand 2-year contract when all they wanted to give him was a contract until the end of the season that was supposed to be renegotiated if he kept them up. That's all they wanted. You keep them up, we promise to renegotiate a longer.
So there was a promise if they kept them up.
Yes,
because as far as I know that Southampton just wanted the 6 months or whatever the remainder of this year, and then potential re-signing.
No,
because the way I understood is that my thought process was that Southampton was going to see who they could get out if they remained in the EPL, that they would see who else they could get and then lean on.
Nope. They basically said, you keep us up, we'll sign you for a 2-year contract. If you don't, you're gone. And he said, no, I want a contract that even if I go down, I want to be able to bring you guys back up. I want to make a full commitment, a 2 to 3 year. And then he wanted the money. Okay, so when he asked for 3 years or 2 to 3 years, as I understand it, and he wanted the money to be guaranteed, regardless of if he got fired. He wanted to get paid for 2 to 3 years, if he got fired or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I almost wonder how serious he was about getting this job then.
I mean, I don't know.
I almost wonder if this is the case.
Listen, those are reports I'm hearing. Those are
because I mean, getting the interview and potentially being considered for another EPL job does more for his image than it would be for him to say go and then get relegated and then get shit canned or not re-signed.
Well, that was Southampton's selling point. They're like, listen, dude, you get to take this job, and if you keep us up, that makes you a merchant of keeping teams up, right?
That's what Berlin's saying. But I'm saying I think it probably does more for his image to have a team interested in him, and then him being like, I want a longer commitment, rather than just going there and get relegated and not get re-signed for 3 months or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know.
I don't think image has anything to do with it. I think the image of Jesse Marsch right now is pretty low. And basically they were saying, you get the opportunity to repair your image by keeping us up. And then we'll renegotiate with you. Okay? That would have been something, I think.
Sure. Keeping them up would absolutely be beneficial towards the image. But then what happens if he gets relegated? And all of a sudden you're the guy who basically almost relegated 2 teams, if not relegated 2 teams.
Well, he was already there.
Damaging.
He was already there. No, he's already in damage. He's already in the damage zone. So this was giving him an opportunity to get out of the damage zone. There's a wide variety
of damage. You can be slightly damaged. You can be a lot of damage. You can be most damage.
Okay, who's going to offer him a job now?
At the EPL, nobody.
Bundesliga?
Probably not.
Yeah, he's damaged. So he should have taken the opportunity, frankly. Unless he just wants to take the U.S. men's national team job and he knows he's going to get it.
And see, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, though. Is I think it benefits him to have a team that's interested in him if he's still aiming to go ahead and go for the national team at that point.
Well, I can tell you in 10 hours, that deal went from being good as done to being good as dead. So it's unfortunate because I would have liked to see the drama of Jesse Marsch playing against Leeds a week from now. I mean, come on. Would that not be crazy? That would be crazy. Him coaching Southampton, well, we're not going to get to see that crazy drama. No, we're not.
Maybe he had too much respect for the Leeds people to take that job.
Hey, we are Leeds. I had a list, which I'm trying to find, of all the Americans that I could remember playing for Leeds. And I was going to announce it the other night, and now I can't find it. So I put on one of these list things. Because it was kind of... Go ahead.
Berlin continues and says Sonogo making the bench is somewhat encouraging news.
Sonogo making the bench?
Sonogo.
Yes.
Sonogo.
Yes, it is.
Potato.
I
say I fucked up.
Let's see. Here we go. This is for our Leeds fans. Americans that have played for Leeds over the years. Many of them we remember very well. Eric Lehigh played 16 games for Leeds.
I was thinking about including him on the list too.
Lehigh as a flop.
Yeah.
I don't think the flop was all his fault. The fact that he wasn't called up was not always his fault.
That's fair enough.
I don't know why he wasn't. Sometimes he wasn't called up, and both of you and I were like, why didn't he get a call up?
Yeah, fair enough.
This is weird. Eddie Lewis played 96 games for Leeds, which I did know, because that's back when they used to call him the American Beckham. Remember that? How fucking hilarious that was? The American Beckham? Nah, I don't think so, buddy. He was good for Leeds. Mike Grella, who came back to MLS and was kind of a thorn in the side for a lot of teams, had a really decent short stint in MLS. Played 42 games for Leeds. Robbie Rogers.
Came back and played for Red Bulls, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fit right in there immediately and looked great. Robbie Rogers played 4 games. Here's the one you'll know, Brett. Jaboli Arayebi.
He plays for a Turkish team right now, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
What's that team name?
Antalyaspor, I believe. Yep.
It's all made up names.
And they are first in the Turkish second division, so they will be promoted. So Jaboli will be playing in the Big Boy League in Turkey next season. Charlie Horton never got to play a who in that for Leeds, but he was on the roster for a while. And then Jamal Johnson played 5 games for Leeds. So those are all the Americans before now that have played for Leeds. And I do remember the Eddie Lewis era in particular. I do remember when Robbie Rogers went over because that's when he came out, and that was a really big deal that he came out. The rest of them, Lehigh, I remember a little bit, but the rest.
Have you ever seen the movie Out Cold?
Is that a sequel to one of the Rocky movies?
No, it's a snowboarding movie with one of the London brothers is the main character, and it's got Zach Galifianakis in it. But there's a bartender that's there that's throwing on this persona of being like this like uber ladies man, and then by the end of it, but he's always shown some indication that he's gay. But by the end of it, he's like, I've got to come out here and say this has been driving me crazy for years, but I finally got the courage to say. And Zach goes, "You're gay?" And he goes, "What? No, ladies man of November." I'm like, "Come on." And he's like, "Dude, it's okay. If you weren't gay, you'd be a really weird guy." But the movie is hysterical. If anybody has seen Out Cold, go see it. It's a great movie.
I can't say that when Robbie Rogers came out as gay that wasn't already something that a lot of people knew. They did. So,
I had no outside of him playing for clubs. I didn't know much outside of being a player, so I had no idea. But good for him.
There was talk, and in a positive way.
Yeah.
They're like, I wish he would just announce it and get it over with because he shouldn't be worried about it. Chambers WI says, when you consider that Jurgen tried to hand them the keys to the team at different times, I'd say the biggest flops would be JFT. Remember, Jurgen said anyone could play left back. Who's JFT?
Jose Fernando Torres.
Okay. Ventura Alvarado. I mean, Jurgen saying that anyone can play left back. It's just Jurgen being an arrogant center forward, right? He's basically, we just play the
goalkeeper. It doesn't matter.
We just throw the
That's more
shitty
Russian, I
players.
guess.
The shitty players get to play defense.
Russian, German. What's the difference?
Doesn't matter. Just throw the shittier players in the back. Anybody can play defense.
Yeah.
Ventura Alvarado, Breck Shea. Special shout out to Rubio Rubin and Juan Agudelo. Well, you seem to nail most of them.
We had most of those. Yeah, except for Torres, I think.
Yep.
Everybody else was in there.
Yep. I'd agree. Any
Good
more?
work, Chambers. Spot on.
The definition of flop needs clarification. I think we started at the beginning and kind of like my women. I never ever had very high expectations of anyone except for Freddie Adu. Like your women. Okay, so you started dating a lot of chicks that looked a lot like Freddie Adu? That's some weird shit, dude. All right, when I think about it, with a $72 million price tag, it's debatable if Pulisic is a flop with the number 10. Yes, he won the Champions League as a substitute. Nah, dude, he's not anywhere near a flop. Nah, I wouldn't even start that. I wouldn't even go there yet. I don't think we can go there. He's been injured too often. So if his career ended tomorrow, I would say he'd be a massive disappointment. But he wouldn't be a flop because he has contributed. He's been around. He's got us through qualifying. So, like, our definition of flop obviously is a lot harder than yours. I don't like saying that. Yeah, I'm much harder than you are. Just that doesn't mean that I have
your flop is as good as mine.
I might be a lot harder than you, but it doesn't mean that my dick's a lot bigger. It just is right now because I'm harder. What?
Yeah, Derek emailed me. He goes, texted me. He goes, "Hey, I emailed you. Emailed you flippy floppies."
The flippy floppies.
I go, "Are we on a boat?"
I'm on a boat. I'm on a
flippy
boat.
floppies.
I'm on a motherfucking boat. All right. What are your thoughts on the U17 striker Kirill Figueroa? He has had a good U17 tournament. I think he's had a pretty good one. I think you have
game
to look
winner against Canada, right?
Listen, you can only play the competition in front of you.
100%.
Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Canada. Canada's the U17 team, guys. It's stinker. It's a stinker. I mean, I know what they have at their men's team at the top level, but their U teams are really bad right now. And they better get on it because they're going to be back to being total shit in about 8 years.
Yeah, their U20s were crap.
Yep. They're about to be complete garbage again in about 8 to 10 years, maybe even 6. I don't know. But
maybe they do the thing the US did back in the day is where you develop later on in your career and you have a bunch of 26 to 29-year-olds that are decent to good.
I mean, it's not looking good.
No.
Deacon Clapcheeks. I think I finally have my days back in order. Shout out to Brett for setting me. Oh, so this is Adam Wiggins.
Yeah.
Setting me on the right path yesterday when I had gone astray. That being said, poor John Brooks can't catch a break these days. Mariner and Coote replaced Brooks on VAR duties. Referee John Brooks has been replaced as the VAR for both Liverpool and Everton. Poor John Brooks.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, John Brooks is going to have to pull this shit together fast for our main man, Matarazzo, at Hoffenheim. Because I do not want to see Matarazzo get fired again. So Hoffenheim's going to have to pull this shit together.
All right. Berlin brings it up. What formation did Norwich play? Did you get to watch a game?
Yes, I watched the game.
So I forgot where it was probably Google, and they had it listed as a 4-2-2-2.
That's correct. That's what it was.
So Berlin's saying he scored as a 10.
Not really. No. If you want to call him a second striker to make it flexible, Taylor, you can.
He was paired up with Ida?
Yeah, but he wasn't a second striker. He was up top the whole fucking game, in the fucking box, the whole fucking game when they had possession and were crossing balls in. He was right in there, like stuck in the box. Like he was no 10. He wasn't hanging outside the box or laying up back and saying, "Hey, pass me the ball. I'm a 10." I mean, he's second striker slash.
Like I said after he scored. At this point, I think we just say that Josh Sargent can score regardless of the position he plays.
I know we're going to have this semantics debate for a long time with Berlin. He wants to have it. That's fine because I find it fun. But I just think he's a center forward, my friend. But we could disagree. It's okay.
Just wait for the coaches to play in there.
We'll still do some shots together. Have a Jenny Kush, and not together because you're in Germany, but over the webs.
Nope, no more. He gives up.
Okay, well, I watched the game, man. I can't make it up. I can't make him into a 10 when he wasn't. Now, prior games he was playing as a 10 behind Pookie. You are right. They were playing a 4-2-3-1. That game was a 4-2-2-2. Well, that's what I saw.
And it's not often that Derek agrees with what Google throws out as a formation. Usually he argues against it.
I did not look at Google.
No. I said what Google said, and you agree.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, usually you disagree with Google regardless.
I think I look at Transfer Market and I look at U.S. Soccer Way. And I try to compare the two. And if they're contradicting, I'll watch the game with my own eyeballs.
At least Soccer Way changes on the fly.
Yeah.
So they may come out with something originally, but then 10 minutes in, they may change it. So
yeah. We still have more tweets to do.
Yeah. You keep going off on tangents.
Tear a dick off. Desi, that sounds violent. That's very violent.
I like how you keep changing your profile pic just to make it work.
Tear a dick off. I don't even know if that's physically possible. Really. I mean, you could, I suppose.
You need that kung fu grip, man, that they had in the 80s. Then you'd be golden.
I know you're such big U.S. women's national. Brett, why did you bring this up? Especially Taylor. But one big flop was Eden Beaver. She never really panned out.
So no, here's the thing. You went through the effort of saying Eden Beaver, and then this is when you should have had the pun. There should have been something there, like talking about snatch or she was not good in the box.
Yeah,
something like that. There needs to be a pun here because I was like, you set it up so nicely. This is where the pun occurs.
So let me fix it. But one big flop was Eden Beaver. There was nobody worse in the box than Eden Beaver.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. There was no one worse at scoring in the box than Eden Beaver. There you go. Boo. That would have been a good ending. All right. Good catch, Mitch. U.S. women's national team were the cavity that created a good deal out of this beta bullshit with USSF in the third. Yeah, I think desecrating the Iranian flag. U.S. women's national team are the biggest institutional pimps I've ever seen. The lies deceit and the betas wanting to hope. Yeah, I don't want to get into any of that right now. I'll talk to you in person about it. How's that? Chris Gary, are we about done, Brett? Are we?
Hey,
I mean, is this going to go on all night here?
Take a look right here.
When
do
do I?
This is at?
When am I going to?
The last one. Just judging off of this is probably the last one, Derek.
You were totally encroaching into my jerk off time. It's really not helping. All right, Chris Gary.
I notice you've been sitting on your hands all show. So
my hands are right here, but they're ready. They're ready. Brex Shea was so good. He become too good for the USA. One flop I was very disappointed in was Sebastian Lletget. He was decent for a period of time, but I thought he could have been one of our top players. I partly blame Big Sam. Me too on the Sam part, but you got to take in the injuries. Those have to be accounted for. PSA. Remember, kids don't spank it during school. Yeah, if you missed the whole Kylene School District announcement on masturbation in public in their bathrooms, go check that out. You missed the early part of the show. We covered that. Skynet porn is not happy. I don't know what that means. What's Skynet porn?
Skynet is from Terminator. It's the AI that takes over the world. Basically, you're missing your spanking time. The AI internet is just not happy.
My brain is so full of Heidegger and Nietzsche and all kinds of other shit, including Napoleon's marshals and the Civil War generals and the battles. I watch a movie for fun. That shit you just said never entered my skull. It might have for like a millisecond, and it went right
like
the other side.
The Skynet is like the villain of Terminator. I mean, had you not watched Terminator, know that the villain is Skynet.
I've watched all of the Terminators.
Even Dark Fate. I'm sorry.
I don't know what that is.
That's the most recent one.
No, I missed that
Dark
one.
Fate that lost whoever owns the Terminator series, Paramount or whatever, lost them $80 million.
Yeah.
Oof.
Look at this. Bandit just says jizz. I think that's a proper ending of the show. Jizz. So, thank you all for coming out tonight. Make sure you subscribe. Listen, if you haven't been watching the whole time, you need to like the fucking
Think
show.
about eating beaver still?
No.
Okay.
I said not like. Like the show now before we head on out. So this gets out to other people who need to hear about all of the things we talked about tonight, including all of the, kind of things that maybe kids shouldn't watch. So don't play this in front of your kids. Make sure you do that. It is a new show.
Did this beat Meg's show?
Might.
Maybe.
I do like the words length record. I've heard that a few times. Am I right?
Hey.
In my life. All right. Until the next time, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, and we will be back next time. Do not jump into any, what are those things called? The bins? What are those called?
The donation bins.
Don't jump into any donation bins if you're fat. You're going to get stuck and die. Good night.
She's a trap, she's an unsung novel, turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without one.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!